And we're here. The transition is done. Failed Portrayal.
I'm gonna go mute the video just so I
has
can watch.
begun. Ba-dum-ba. I made that rhyme. Hello,
Videos
chat.
I don't.
Welcome to probably the most obscure Failed Portrayal so far. Because people did actually play Centurion and will play so in the future because it has new cards. I have not met a single person except for the one person who will no doubt appear in chat to be like, I am Harmonica's strongest soldier. I know all their combo lines. You're wrong about every card. They're all good. But other than that one person who will magically appear in chat because I'll say it, I have never met a living human being who has played Harmonica. Which is weird because...
Joe played it.
I'm in the middle of a
Okay.
line. Sorry, the joke has another punchline.
There's a
Which
joke
is
here?
to say, yes, the punchline is now. I'm getting to it. Which is just weird because I know human beings who have played Tistina.
Yeah, Pete, and he hated it the whole time.
Yes, because it's awful.
It's just so bland. It's the blandest deck you would. It actually looks kind of cool aesthetically.
Yeah, it's a weird one. They've got good art. The deck just doesn't do anything. Also, chat, I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. I'm gonna warn you. I don't know why. I still have the cough. It's gonna sneak up on me sometimes. Cause like, other than like the slight like scratchiness in my chest that sometimes overtakes me, I don't feel bad at all. Like, I don't even feel like stuffed up or tired or anything. So like, just I may occasionally break into a coughing fit when it just creeps up on me. Okay, that one actually had some stuff. I have water. I have one single cough drop if it gets really bad. Which it might. But other than that, there's just nothing to be done. Like I said, it's just like creeping up on me. But we're going to continue to talk about Valiant Smashers. You're still yelling at me about the audio, even though...
I know very little about these cards. I only remember... let me take my day guards so that I can articulate better. I know very little about these cards, but I do know that it was something tested by Joe of Joe of Hard Lake Fashion of the famous series of his famous book reading series.
I don't know if anybody's in chat gonna get that, but I chuckled.
I mean, I like his book reviews; they're pretty good, but he doesn't do that much. But anyway, or his videos about the world and life and the destruction of the universe. But the point is, he covers everything. And he tries.
Yeah,
tries everything. So I've never seen anyone that actually give a fuck about this outside people that just discuss it because they discuss everything, which is unfortunate. But it happens.
Yes. So everybody knows. Remember, Valiant Smashers. We took a week off to do Melfi. Loth will actually be joining us this time. He's not overslept. He will be up shortly. Well, he said Failed Portrayal earlier. He's crawling out of his crypt, so I'm sure we can vamp for like 5 minutes for him to show up. Or I'll break into a coughing fit for 5 minutes.
I will see. I need to not be dead because we have to. I think we have future.
Sorry, you made me chuckle. Just try to clear it out. Gotta be careful.
I guess I just have to like take.
There's a coin flip if you make me laugh right now, everybody. Sometimes
Are your lungs
it's fine.
okay,
Sometimes
or is
it's not.
Is your lungs okay, or is it while you're just throat seizing?
I think my lungs okay. Like my like lower throat area, is it your brachial tube that branches? Like, the spot behind my sternum is a little, like... I don't even want to say it's painful. It's a little, like, itchy, which I think is what's causing me to have the cough reflex, but, like...
You might... Okay.
My chest doesn't really hurt.
You might just have, like, fluid. You might just have, like, some, like, I guess, like drying fluid stuck in your lungs.
It is, like... The weather's been a little, like, off. It's been actually kind of stormy.
That you have some, like... That you have, like, some fungal spore stuck in you?
I don't think we have fungal spores. I
fair.
live in a house with air conditioning. There's no moisture level inside this house.
I've just been battling mold. Because for some reason it turns out if I leave my food in my fridge for more than a week, it all just gains mold somehow. Either it was just freshly cooked a week ago.
Okay, in your fridge? That's weird. You may want to double check that all the parts of your refrigerator are working.
Okay, maybe it was like 2 weeks, but even then, that's still like a bit fast, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, listen.
Especially when they're sealed in containers.
I live in Florida, We put everything in our fridge that we want to keep longer than a couple of days because it's so hot. And even though I, joke about the pulling the humidity out of the air, like it's still like if you open a window or door outside.
Like I had to throw away like
five
things. I had to throw away like 5 things of like chicken parmesan because they all gained mold. It's like it's only been like 2 weeks. Like,
so
what?
that's something's either in your ingredients or there's something wrong with your fridge. Yeah, because like a refrigerator's supposed to be dry,
but my freezer is just not like
freezing the shit out
of
it.
My freezer's not like, I guess I have to make it colder, but I don't know how to make it colder. But like my fridge is too small. It's like I don't have I need to find a way to put more fridge or something. I
we just talked
about my fridge colder. I think.
Mold can only come from like moist environments, so that's odd. Anyway, we're getting really off track. We were talking about Harmonica. I was reminding everybody because it had been a week or two that Valiant Smashers is the set with Memento, Harmonica, and Centurion. Centurion we're leaving to last because while that will have good art and does actually have a coherent game plan, in general, people have not been as interested because it is a fairly straightforward level 12 sync engine. 8s and 12s. Yeah, you go into some really big guys. The main thing, though, is that the reason why people actually have played Centurion is that in the areas where it is legal, that's a really good line to get into Crimson Dragon so you can make King Calamity on your opponent's turn, which is just kind of a stun lock deck. The deck does actually do other things. It has been getting drip-fed support, but that's, like I said, what has been most popular, and a lot of people just don't like to see it, which is why we should be happy that King Calamity is banned. But for some reason, they banned it in Master Duel, even though they didn't release Centurion last month. They released Harmonica, in fact, which is why I believe Hardleg had that episode of Let's Learn Harmonica. Hardleg does actually also get subjected to some truly heinous choices because, like many people, he is held fast by his Patreons, who usually vote to make him do something which is terrible. Sometimes it's terrible because it's obscure, like or technically it's the other way around, but you know what I mean.
When you play
sometimes
Ninjas, it was fine.
I mean, that had the structure deck at least. That was pretty straightforward. Ninjas, I think, is a viable strat.
I've always liked. I mean, you've seen what I've liked and bullshit. Like, yeah. I still wanted to make ciphers because they've yet to make an actual like Comrade archetype that I like. I mean, I guess Inzektor's fine, but that's.
I mean, Inzektor's is a way better meta deck than Cyframes, but Cyframe is by design a exotic side strat, which is a thing we often talk about on Failed Portrayal. But yeah, Harmonica is.
I also like psychics. So.
Another attempt at a pendulum archetype that is not meant, at least inherently, to spam monsters. Mostly because Harmonica doesn't have any fucking monsters. This isn't actually true, but like they have 3 main deck names. They have 3 main deck names and 3 extra deck names. So
they like the Nightmare Girl, where it's like her and like her 3 monsters.
No, they're just all girls except for the extra deck guys, which are like one of them is like a demon dragon, but also it's probably got like a little devil or angel sitting on it. I don't know. We'll get into the art in high res later, but like I said, Konami's solution to, well, how do we make a pendulum archetype that's not just soup out 6 guys every turn, which there are many variants on. I know that like MBT's gotten some flack from the Pendulum community for insisting that Pendulum soup is a deck when it really isn't. Most Pendulum lists these days are actually pretty focused. That said, I do kind of agree with MBT that if you're playing Pendulum Magicians, that is effectively on its own a soup deck because, like, yeah, I know they all have Magician in their name and their Pendulum cards, but there's, like, 8 waves of those guys, and several of them are from, like, very distinct philosophies. Some of them are Dark Worm cards, but, like, you know, there's...
Oh, yeah, some are, like, Czar cards, but...
Sorry, Boss just typed in chat, the Angle or the Kevin, and I'm just like, wow. We're getting some weird obscure shit.
But honestly, just to say it is like, I mean, the Magician, Pen Magicians are inherently a soup deck because it's really meant to be like anniversary season deck. It's meant to be really a combination of everything.
Yeah, it's made up of like thematic archetypes of multiple characters. Like, you know, you've
it's
got,
also the idea that
like,
Pend is Pend is supposed to be the archetype that lets you jump between the different summoning methods as an inherent way, which I think they never really focused on that much as an idea, but it's a theme that kind of was there
I
at some
mean,
point.
it's something that keeps a lot of Pendulum decks alive because inherently there are a lot of different extra deck types of monsters that live in the extra deck. So, like, if you can use Pend to get material, there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do. Obviously, with like the the 2 fusions arcs, the synchros arc, that kind of stuff. They played around with a little, but Odd Eyes, which we've talked about at length, also has that kind of back and forth. Velmonica is not that. Like I said, Velmonica is, they have 2 scales. They have a non-scale monster, which I think may have been added later. We'll find out about her in a second. Their primary method is to use pendulum scale effects to gain counters and use these to cheat out link monsters, which are relatively low link materials for their stats because they have weird requirements. So basically, again, Konami kind of building that situation where, okay, you're not allowed to play busted generic pendulum scales because you need your scale effects. This is kind of similar, I think, to how, oh god, I blanked the name for a second. Sulfachord worked, where, like, those guys are designed to interact uniquely with 1 odd and 1 even Pend scale, so, like, yes, you can play generic Pend scales, but you kind of have to work with the stuff you got, to kind of cut down on their, splashability. I assume that Velmonica is meant to be Splash because, like I said, you have 3 fucking main deck names. Admittedly, you got, like, somewhere between 8 to 10 spell traps, so, like, you've got enough green cards and purple cards to fill out your deck. But still, like, I assume you have to play something else in it. I probably should have double-checked Joe's video. I don't know what his final version of his list was like, piloting this deck on ratios and stuff. But also, genuinely, like, I think I've read these cards once, so I want my honest opinions when I reread these cards, and I'm like, this card is what? But yeah, so, like I said, I assume you have to put some other kind of engine in here. Yeah. But I don't know what that engine is. It's not like generic fairy or fiend stuff, I don't think. But yeah, it's an odd one. I do believe that let me double check if it was. I don't know if it was all of them, because some of them aren't even out in the TCG. But yes, okay. Some number of Velmonicas were actually put in Master Duel, as we did, mention before. All right. Loth still hasn't made it out of his crypt.
He's yet to manifest, but before that, I would say, I don't know why about you talking about this. Maybe you think about it, it's like, this is a weird logic thing, but you bring in counters to some of them. It's like, I'm still waiting for when they make the level 3s that become Xyz 3s that make Link 3s. Basically like. Why
like Sprite with 3-axis?
I want Sprite 3s and 4s and 5s.
I mean, honestly, you probably can't expect a Link 4 or a Link 5 because you'd have to put Link 2s or 3s to climb into, or...
I think they could do, like, very specific Link 4s where they only work specifically in the archetype, or like how, like,
no, actually, that's the opposite way that should work. You can't do it that way unless I said, like, you're playing Link 2s because you need to Link climb. So you want generic Links so you can shit out a lot of materials to Link 4 times. You can't get around this. You need 4 mats to make a Link 4.
But Zelantis only needs 1.
Yeah,
or,
but
like, Charlemagne only needs 1. But yeah.
But those guys. Well, also Charlemagne's not a Link 4. He is a Link 1.
He's Link 1, but like I think they should do stuff like that more.
I mean, that we can say. You're gonna see that actually in this archetype. Like I said, I think they've got most of their monsters are only like Link 1 or Link 2. But they have very weird specific requirements. But like I said, you cannot make an actual Link 4 without 4 mats. I think you could get away with Link 3s that, like, chain to, an Xyz rank 3, because 3 is just enough where you can probably, like, work with generic 2s or mats. Or you just, make your deck the dumbest free special summoning engine ever. So you always have 3 mats on board. But 4 is probably asking too much. 5 is also absolutely too much Riz, unless the whole archetype is built around cards like under Closed Goddess, because you could get extra mats from somewhere. Zealantis is a 4, but he only requires 1 mat, but that's because he's supposed to be made after you make another, like, Link 4. Also, it's 1+, so you can just cheat. But yeah, the Valmonicas did get added to Master Duel. Don't know why. Literally, nobody's playing them because Snake Eye is basically full power. I know there have been some people who have been talking about consistency hits, but the Master Duel ban list is continues to be dumb. Let me see. On July 10th, we're going to get an update. That update will be Kaiser Coliseum and Catapult Turtle will be banned, which is technically early compared to the OCG just banning that just now. But, like, it's nice, but also it's super useless. They're going to put Summon Limit down to 1. They're going to be continuing their hits to Floodgates. Bonfire is going to 2, which is a consistency hit to Snake Eyes. Zeus is going to 2 for some ungodly reason, because the second Zeus is so important. Those Xyz decks, they really need the help. Airlifter is going to 2, which I guess is technically like an engine hit to Snake Eye decks, because you can play, like, Diabell Star Rescue Ace, but, again, that meta is, like, 6 months ago, even in Master Duel's terms. We're putting Perlily to 2, and I think Pearly is already at 2, again, for some ungodly reason. Like, I don't understand what their logic is here. We're putting Zeus to 2 so you can play Xyz decks, but we're hating Pearly, the only good Xyz deck right now. They're unbanning Kirin. They're completely unlimiting it. For some ungodly reason, I think they already put... I think they already put, like, Kashtira Unicorn, like, back up to 3, and now they're making Kashtira Birth go from 2 to 3. I do not like this because none of the Kashtira extra deck monsters are banned. You can still play Shangri-Ira, and Arise Heart's never been hit in Master Duel. They just, like, limited the consistency of Kashtira. And I do not like this because I don't want to run into Kashtira decks playing Kashtira in ladder, or ever, actually. I maintain to this day, if I see you playing a Kashtira deck, you summon a Kashtira guy, you search an extra Kashtira, I go next. I will not play with you. I do not want to see those guys.
Alright, cool. That's not gonna free win, I guess. I'll just learn to play Cash for once, but I guess it's like, that's already been got poisoned, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't like them. I don't like people playing mainline.
I like their
Kashtira.
aesthetics before they even came out.
Yes, yeah. Axe, you like aesthetics, and for some ungodly reason, you will play a deck even if everybody fucking hates your guts just because it looks cool. But I mean, that is a personal choice you are allowed to make.
I guess I have principles then.
That's the opposite of principles.
It's not about principles.
But the actual cash hits, like, funnily enough, putting a lot of shit to 2 or 1. I think, like, Unicorn and Fenrir were at 1 for, like, a month or 2 in Master Duel. That does actually count as enough consistency hit that people stop playing it even as an engine. Like I said, I feel like Master Duel is unloosening the engine without, like, killing the potential that you can just play Kashtira. I guess Arise Heart probably doesn't have any protection against just getting sent to the back row by Snake Eyes, I guess. That's terrible logic, though, for bans. I would have no complaints if they just put Arise Heart in jail where he belongs, but I'm pretty sure you can still play him in Master Duel. They're unlimiting Yatagarasu and Ptolemaeus, though, which is probably, like, way overdue. Those cards weren't doing anything. So it's like Master Duel's doing some weird moves, and like I said, so with that current list, where just, like, the greatest hit to the fact that everybody and their mother is playing some variant of Snake Eyes and can now play Snake Eyes Fire King. Hi, by the way, Loth. They put Bonfire to 2. Cool, great. Thanks for the free dust. I guess it is a UR, which I'm glad that you're actually, like, hitting those, but, like, also, fuck you, slightly. Maxi still played 93% of decks. So, yeah, the point of that long story, which we got into aside because I was mentioning the Master Duel ban list, was Valmonica's in Master Duel. I don't think anybody's playing it, like, seriously as like a slice of the card appearance, because there's literally no reason to, because there are 4 different variants of infinitely better tier 0 decks out there. And I don't know. It's just one of those business things. I don't know why the fuck Konami bothers releasing. I mean, I know we all want them to release new cards in Master Duel. I don't know why they bother releasing new cards in Master Duel that have, like, real rarities, like super rare and ultra rare and shit, when nobody's going to want to spend dust on those decks because there are way better meta decks that you know will never go away. Literally no loss of investment if you crafted Kashtira cards. They just got all unhit like 3 months later. So yeah, literally no reason to do anything but hoard all your gems, spend them all at once on meta selection packs. When you don't get the cards you want, because inevitably there are stinkers, turn it all into dust, and just craft meta decks, and they'll literally never go away. I've seen a lot of people talking about quitting Master Duel. I am glad they are making a tryhard mode. Ranked duels above the normal ladder season. After you clear Master, you can go into a whole new level of ranked ladder. Good for them. Hopefully people will go there and stay there, away from me. But we didn't actually talk about, like, Harmonica's themes. Their name is probably based on Italian. And this is going to be one of those whatchamacallits where, like, they have a very plain name in Japanese that's very literal, and then, you know, they're like... for instance, I pulled up the first one we're going to talk about, Angelo Harmonica. It's, like, got a literal romaji, which is, like, Angel's voice, and then it's, you know, in the furigana, it's, like, Angelo Harmonica. So definitely, like, Varmonica or Valmonica are both valid because there's LR ambiguity.
Of course.
It's probably actually supposed to be R, because it's harmonic or armonica, as in the glass harmonica. And the Italian word they could be using would be variare, like literally the verb to vary, because they do kind of like vary back and forth. The names of the primary 2 cards we're going to talk about, the pen scales, Angelo and Dimono, are corruptions. Like, we just goofed up some of the vowels and consonants in the literal Italian words for angel and demon. Angelo, demoni. So, like, a lot of people, I think, quickly pegged that these guys are probably supposed to be, like, your angel and shoulder devil kind of thing. And they are, you know, fiends and fairies that involve different pen scales, which is why, by the way, chat brought this up. Oh, there's a lot of empty space. Yeah, this is a pen monster, so that means we extended the art at the bottom. And for some reason, we just didn't have anything to do with that space.
We just let it be.
Hi, Vesp.
I shrug. Also, hi, Vesper. But yes.
Vesper is here.
Yes, everyone's kind of here.
Talk about...
Oh, here. Just no Dallas guarantees.
Yeah, no, sorry about being late. For some reason, my computer decided to not have the SSD load, so that's why it took forever.
Yeah, look, Dallas is never later on time. He arrives precisely when he means to. I think that's how that quote goes.
Unless
This is
you
true,
call him
yes.
a bitch, in which case he may arrive right then. and
Well,
there.
then that's... I mean, when you insult him, that's when he means to arrive. He heard you talking shit. But yeah, Valmonica is an interesting one. Like I said, they only got like 3 main deck monsters. This is one half, and in fact, let me just go ahead and grab the other one anyway. It's not like their arts are super in detail. But yeah, the art is extended because you're never supposed to see that empty space because that's covered by 2 text boxes.
Yeah, that's the funny thing with a lot of pen monsters.
Yeah. So it's weird, because I want to arrange them like this, because that's how they're facing. But strictly speaking, the way... Oh, that's not going to work. Hold on. make some room. The way the scales are, though I guess in Japanese you read right to left anyway, so you might put the low scale on that side. So I guess we'll keep it that way. Is that how that's supposed to be done, Konami?
I don't
Anyway.
think there's a canonical way of which side the scale is on.
I mean, I do.
Good over there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm cutting off because I'm typing something. There are sadly other channels in my Discord besides Fail Portrayal. But yeah, like I think most sane people in the TCG play it, like usually like low scale on the left, high scale on the right. But not always, because it literally doesn't actually matter what position they're in, which is another like terrible mistake of Konami could actually make pen monsters interesting.
Looking at it, looking at the anime, pulling it up, it looks like they put the low scale on the right side and the high scale on the left side. Or well, it's reversed because of perspective, but the player Yuya is usually putting low scale right, high scale left. And there's Dallas.
Okay. Then that is probably meant to like just a, language thing where reading right to left in Japan, you would just naturally put the lower number first. So yes, this is probably how these two arts are supposed to go. With the Angel, which is the low scale on this hand, the Devil, which is the high scale. By the way, I say low scale, high scale. They're fucking scale 3 and scale 5 to summon 4s. Like it's very limited.
I didn't want to say it. I was like, is that a high scale?
It's for the purposes of the archetype. One of them is bigger number, one of them smaller number.
What is the one you put on the right? What's the put on the left? Just call it
You
a
put
day.
string gaps from the anime. Like perspective, it's left right, but it's right left because of player perspective.
Yeah, if you say that, it would be that way. So interesting, yeah. Or maybe the anime does it that way so that it's low on the left when you're facing away. God knows, there's anyway, it doesn't matter.
There's no telling. We never see it from the reverse side. We just this is the stock footage of the pendulum scale.
Yeah. I mean, if I remember correctly, and I might be completely wrong because I saw this anime like 15 years ago, I think the other dimension does it a different way.
More like
It's
don't
not even
years
10
ago.
years old, I think.
But
Is it?
I don't know. Vesper's looking at the screen caps. Anyway, the two Valmonicas, Angelo, Demono, Demon's voice, Angel's voice, very straightforward stuff. They do have some funny attributing. Angelo is a dark fairy level 4. And funny fact, Demono is a light fiend, but I don't think you can play a Fiendsmith package in this. Angelo has 1200 attack, 2100 defense. So, and I mentioned before, she's scale 3. Sorry, there's a fly in this room. I'll get him later. If you suddenly hear a loud slapping sound, that's what it is, chat. But Angelo says, each time you gain life points while you control a fiend monster card in your other pendulum zone, put a resonance counter on this card. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can, immediately after this effect resolves, link summon a Valmonica monster. Link monster, I should say. I know it says link summon, so it has to be a link monster anyway, but I guess just the way PCST works is they have to specify it's a Valmonica link monster.
Also,
as well.
Axe, yes, you are old. Arc V is 10 years old.
Yeah, but you said 15, so it's like. Anyway, regardless. Keep going.
From memory from when I looked at Valmonica cards, yeah, it's all about these resonance counters.
Yes, you use counters. And Angelo has a monster effect as well. If this card's in your hand, you can discard one other card, take Demono Valmonica from your deck, place it in your pendulum zones. And this card. During your main phase, if this card was normal or special, banish a Valmonica normal spell trap from your graveyard. Apply whichever effect on that card includes gaining life points. This is exactly how that is phrased. You can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, Angelo and Demono aren't hardly supposed to be summoned, but you can, pendulum summon them out or normal summon them. Just if after you've already got your scales set up to get effects, because you can choose with
you're playing multiple copies. You're playing multiple copies of these guys, so like worst case scenario, I guess you could pen summon them.
Yeah, I think the idea is that like Konami's trying to like build in future proofing, because it's like, well, okay, you need scales. Like your deck doesn't do anything if you're not set up for the scales. But then what do you do with the other like 2 copies of each scale, right? They're just bricks? No. Okay, you can normal and special them to use your spell trap effects, because the spells in this, or at least a lot of the normal spells in this archetype, have effects where you pick either paying LP or gaining LP and doing other stuff. So, there's kind of some back and forth there. And then Demono is as I mentioned before, Light Fiend. She's also level 4. She's the scale 5. She's the exact same stats at 1221. So, I guess they're intending that you just pen summon a wall here. And Demono says, each time you take effect damage while you control a fairy monster card in your other pendulum zone, place a resonance counter on this card. Monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack for each resonance counter on your field. So between both pendulum zones, which is good, because otherwise 100 per counter is nothing. But yeah. So, again, to recap, chat, make sure you're following. Demono gets counters when you take effect damage, when you take burn damage. Angelo gets counters when you gain life points. And strictly speaking, you do not actually need the other scale in your scale. It just says, like, Demono just needs a fairy, which I believe there are several pendulum fairies. And
there is that counter trap fairy. That's a pendulum.
Yeah. And there are also several Fiend pendulums, so I assume you probably just play Archfiend Eccentric in this deck just for the utility, because she is a Fiend pendulum.
I probably wouldn't, because the main theme of the deck seems to be going into 4s. So I'd probably not play,
but you don't... well, I mean, your extra deck is empty, but then it's like, but Dallas, you have 3 main deck monsters. What's the rest of your fucking deck?
Hand traps.
Okay, but
Just
after I've taken your eyes out of your eye sockets and put your balls in your eye holes and your eyes in your ball holes, what are you going to put in your main deck?
Realistically, I would just play this with Exo Sisters. I'm going to be real.
That's a very weird wombo combo, especially coming from you, but sure, I guess they're 4s?
I like stun decks. What do you want from me?
I want to put your balls where your eyes go and put your eyes where your balls go. I'm going to bring that one back, chat. I've remembered one of my darkest curses. I'm going to keep bringing that one back.
Looking at a handful
Excuse you,
of
my eyes are down here.
pendulum fairies, we have Guiding Ariadne and Harvest Angel of Doom, a card that just adds Black Horn of Heaven.
That's very funny. I guess, you got flexibility.
I mean, you could also play them with Sulfa chords, I guess.
Yeah, but Sulfa chords are all over the place. What's interesting, though, is that Harvest Angel of Doom is level 4. That it adds Horn of Heaven when it's summoned. It could pop itself to add Black Horn of Heaven in the Pendulum Zone,
I mean, that's perfectly fair, because that gives you a fairy in your other pen zone, and then you can just get rid of it when you draw the regular Harmonica. Like, that's not a terrible engine to put in there. Blackhorn's a very funny card. We didn't talk about Demono's monster effect also. We should just mention it. If it's in your hand, you can discard one other card. You take an Angelo from your deck, and then place this card and that card in your pen zone. So it's got the same replacement effect, where you just set scales.
It's the exact same effect, just against the other one.
Also, by the way, not ashable. I do not believe ash activates when you place in Pendulum Zone. So keep that in mind.
It does not.
And then during your main phase, if this card was special summoned or normal summoned this turn, you can banish a Harmonica normal spell trap to apply the effect where you take damage. Very simple stuff.
So here's the problem, though, Omega, because I believe, because I've had similar things happen to me with Ash Blossom, you can ash the effect of the card gaining counters.
No.
Really?
No. Counter. Add a counter is not on Ash Blossom's list of text. And strictly speaking, depending on what the card does, you may be able to block out the activated, like, your spell trap effects that give you damage or gain you LP because they also do other things. But yeah, no. This is a deck that is like, I mean, literally fucking. When was Valiant Smashers again? Let me remind myself. Yeah,
It was recent.
2023, I think.
Yeah, 23. What's the TCG version? Yeah, late 23. So it's a fairly modern deck. It's like less than a year old, but just barely older than 6 months. So again, like, Konami has built in a lot of modern abilities to get in there. Your main starter effect is have one of your 2 scales, which you're running 3 of, in your hand, discard some other card, set scales, and your opponent can't really do anything about this because it's discard and set scale from deck. Like, it's in hand effect, so it's not like impermeable or veilable. But it's not like an add to hand effect, so they can't like do Droll or Ash Blossom. It's not a special summon, so they can't max C that effect anyway.
And it doesn't, unfortunately, fortunately, I guess, it doesn't pop anything because that's how I keep getting Ash when I play Pendulum. Is it also summons it puts in Pendulum Scale from deck, but it does it by popping itself, which Ash can negate.
Yeah, there's a few different like variants of stuff. But we do have one more monster. And let me actually double check. Was she? No. Okay. So this is their not even funny +1, because this came out in Legacy of Destruction, which is currently the most recent TCG set until Infinite Forbidden comes out, and Yu-Gi-Oh becomes $500 again. Hey, spoilers, if everybody wasn't paying attention, they put little Arash, little goddess in info. They said that they did that, so the set will be very expensive because that means that the full Fiendsmith engine will be online like just before Nats season. So all of your tryhards who have more money than sense will be buying Fiendsmith, and it's gonna suck. Maybe we'll get a list where we like put Beatrice in the bin beforehand, but yeah, it's gonna be spicy.
We should emergency ban close God of the Moon Sky just to be funny.
I mean, that would keep the meta. It wouldn't keep the meta that shook up. I think it's one of those weird things where, like, and again, like, Konami also probably has this struggle of like, well, people are really bitching about the tier 1, Snake Eye format. The Fiendsmith engine, Fiend Link, like Yubel Fiendsmith Wombo combo deck is also tearing up the OCG, and like, that's a different deck that's really good. So like, you want to buy new product, right? But also, people are going to want to buy new product because they're going to put this card in. There's sadly no way that we can convince Konami to like make Closed Goddess not a secret rare because she's like an import of a weird promo card or a side set card.
I mean, card prices are... Oh, good.
Just in general, right now, Konami's in a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation where we are in a very absurdly oppressive format that I don't think Snake Eyes is like a terrible deck. It does look fun. But it's just been so dominant for so long at this point that
now it's been
no matter what they do, no matter what they do really, they release another new deck that overpowers it. Okay, well, you have to find a way to balance it to where it's not super oppressive over Snake Eyes, but also still just you're going to have to make some cards high rarity, like
because you and this is valid for vendors. You need people to buy boxes. Like, they have to want to buy either individual packs or box sets so that you can move product, because it's very expensive to keep product on your shelf. So,
is there at least a secondary archetype that's a little cheaper?
I mean, I don't know how much Top Cuts has been making, but technically Tenpai is very cheap.
Tenpai is cheap aside from Dragion.
Yeah, like there's one card which is also gonna get a price drop because I think they've confirmed Trident Dragions in the next like OTS pack print as well.
Of
so
course
like
it's
coming back. We all know it's getting reprinted.
That's how Magic gets away with it. Like, the second top deck in Magic is currently $480, which is ridiculously expensive. But the top deck in Magic is $75. So
Currently Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of the other way
That's how they get
around,
away
but
with it.
I'm pretty sure Tenpai does stuff and is like every card in that deck is like super rare or lower.
Yeah, the
And the funniest part about that deck, the most expensive card in it is a common. It's the most expensive common in Magic's history at this point, I
That's
think.
very funny. Does this have anything to do with
the most expensive common
the
that hasn't been like rarity shifted?
There's I know there's some I don't want to get too deep into it, but I know there's some stuff with like the Magic meta right now. There are some clips going on Twitter of
tier format is back, baby.
yeah, Magic is
No.
experiencing their own version of the tier format where some stuff gets a little crazy.
Yeah,
we may have
what I
forgotten the hard
understand-
once.
Oh,
Yeah, from what I understand in the basic sense, there is a card that gives all of your monsters on all your creatures on the field a twice per turn effect to like draw a card if it's a land, you play it. But it's a twice per turn on every individual creature, so it's basically
Yes.
infinite.
Nadu was a choice to print in a modern legal set. I'm not talking about modern, by the way. Modern is the money format, and those decks get ridiculous. The top deck is actually fairly cheap. It's only $500. I say that fairly cheap because the third top deck is $1,680.
Yeah, a lot of alternate format
I
decks
mean-
with Magic get really expensive.
I don't play modern.
It's the equivalent of making a field spell that says all of your ally justice monsters can upstart goblin twice per turn.
Yeah, Nadu is a silly card that should
Like
have been done in a Commander precon because Commander has a bunch of cards like that,
Yeah.
and we don't care. 'Cause
Well,
it's a
yeah, like-
four-player game, so if someone plays a card like that, the other three people at the table just go, kill him.
Sorry,
The
I've
other
been-
the other
I've-
three
I've
people
just realized
look
I'm
at each
staring at
other
this lady.
and pull out their guns.
Yeah, basically. That's how Commander is balanced. It's
So
there's only
chat,
one of you. It's
let me
three
know
of
if you
us.
see it. I had to stare at this one for a while because I was like, "Where's her other leg?" This girl's got some interesting asymmetry going on, but with the like water ripple effect and the color of her other sock. Yes, it's a stocking. She's got a single stocking
it's
on.
like it's like a stocking legging thing.
Yeah, because she's
Very
wearing like
luminous.
normal
Like,
shoes,
it's
and
very-
I'm just like,
it's, like,
it
very
took me a
shiny.
second to catch it because it's like in the
I
back.
thought it was a robot limb. I'm gonna be honest.
No, she's wearing a stocking. And you can see that she's got like little bat and little angel pins here. Got some water stuff.
Yeah, it's like at first glance, this lady looks like she only has one limb.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Chad, do you also see that, or am I chatting shit? She's also got really
No.
long sleeves. I think you can see her
They
hands in
should
the
have
sleeves.
given her bare leg the white stocking, so that way you know it's like a split, asymmetrical kind of.
Yeah, that's
nonsense.
another thing. I don't know why she's got no stocking on that leg.
Yeah, like
Well, I can tell you why, but it's because Konami's horny.
you can see the arms, you can see her hands if you look long enough, but it kind of gets lost in the frills for a
Yeah,
moment.
hidden
And,
release, yeah.
you're taking in this design, and you see one leg, you don't see the other, and then you don't see the rest of her arms. You're kind of like where's her body? What's happening?
But yeah, so this was brought up a while ago. But you know, this is actually like this girl. Her name is Celatrice Valmonica. Is between the two. You know, she's the one with the shoulder devil and the shoulder angel. Her straight up Japanese name is Tenma no Seisenki, heavenly and demonic voice selecting princess. But it's Serotorice Valmonica, which is the feminine version of a noun which means selector in Italian. So
Okay.
this is
What?
the pickator, the pickatrix, the woman who
The
picks.
selector of the score. If anyone knows that reference.
She picks them.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure how much I'm down with the art for these cards, and it's one specific thing that, like, I don't know why it bothers me, but it bothers me. The fact that there's like a border within a border is just like,
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure why there is the border effect.
I
I
don't
think
vibe
the
with it.
idea is supposed to be that, like, literally, the angel's supposed to be on you know this side, and the devil's supposed to be on this side, and they're supposed to like sync up. But that is a thing
Yeah,
that Konami does occasionally do with cards, where they put card borders inside the card art, which already is
Yeah,
inside a border on
no.
the card. It is
Magic
weird.
does it too, and it drives me insane.
So I'm not really sure why there's a framing device. Feel free to elaborate
I
your
will
theories.
say, I do feel like this design would flow better if they had gone all in on the like half and half design aesthetic they seem to be going with her stocking.
Yeah, she just seems like a
Yeah.
very generic anime woman. Like this is literally the Lost Sulfur Cord woman.
Yeah, like I don't think there's anything
Jesus.
wrong with how she looks. It's not a bad design, but you look at this and you don't. The only thing that makes you see Valmonica is the fact that she has the half and half borders. That's
Yeah.
the only thing doing. That's the only thing, like, putting your mind in like, oh, this is a Valmonica card.
And you would not be able to tell that she's in archetype if you looked at her typing and attributes. Hey, chat, do you know what type and attribute this card is?
Take a wild guess, guys. I don't
It's
think you'll get there.
Oh, I know what it is. Can I play the game? Because I don't have the card pulled up.
Sure, yeah, if you know.
It's a spellcaster. And it's definitely a water attribute. Because she's in a puddle. Because I
Wow.
know how Konami's brain
Dallas,
works.
you did in fact totally guess it. Yes, Celetrice is a water spellcaster. She's also level 4 because that's how the deck is
Oh,
built.
I actually got spellcaster? I genuinely thought
No,
it was
she is
I'm
literally.
just like, alright, if I guess either spellcaster or a warrior, I'm like 50% chance to be right.
Yeah,
probably.
no.
Honestly, you're not wrong in these archetypes especially.
I assume they pick water spellcaster because like that's not an uncommon type, but also that's not a type that is like there's no archetype that is specifically water spellcasters. There are water
It's like
spellcasters in
how-
archetypes,
It's like how
but
Konami has, I assume, just stopped printing Dark Warriors because we're like, oh, we fucked up. We can't
Okay,
print any more
now.
of these because it'll
Don't-
break.
I mean, eventually
Don't
they're gonna. I mean, like they make they made Spellcaster 2. Eventually they make Warrior 2, and then they make like
I mean, they
Mercenary or
haven't
something.
actually made spellcaster 2. Illusion is very specific.
Look, you
Fair.
you can't knock ice barriers. They're basically all water spellcasters.
I mean, it's true, but those guys at
That's
least
true.
are name checked the other way, and also they're not
True, but
actually all
only
water
like-
spellcasters
true,
because
but
there
only
are a
like
couple
30%
of
of the-
water warriors and water sea serpents and other
Okay,
things
yeah.
in there.
Okay, yes, but listen, but only like 30% of Ice Barriers actually even considerably playable.
And
I
I'll be
never
honest,
said-
the only reason I guessed it was water is because you had us
Dumb
guess
bullshit.
it, and so it wasn't light or dark. And
Yes,
I don't
no.
know how it would be anything else.
Yeah, genuinely, I don't know.
guess
They
that would
there's
take,
some
I guess.
water puddle. So,
but yeah, she's a you know, I think Dallas. The reason why she wouldn't be a warrior is because they wouldn't want you to be able to Rhoda her.
yeah.
It's. I feel like this card is like was built in a lab to make her hard to generically search, and I don't know why. I genuinely do not know especially after seeing like we talked like in previous weeks recently about like what gimmick puppet support is like these days, right? And like shit like that. Like I genuinely do not know when Konami is trying to sell you these new obscure archetypes, and like I said, this came out in Legacy of Destruction like 6 months after the rest of the Valmonica cards. I don't know why she's not something searchable. Like a dark spellcaster or a dark war. Like, I don't know why Konami didn't try and make this deck
So-
click more. Because I don't think it does
Ah.
anything. And the Ice Barrier did just get you
Well,
support.
I think it's probably like because I actually kind of like the engine because we'll get to it, but I really
Yeah,
like the boss monsters of this
the
archetype.
spells are interesting, and then the way they do build the links are very unique.
But the problem is, even with Water Lady, there's just not enough of a main deck going on.
Yeah, they probably needed to like come up with a handful more. I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like they were reluctant to print Celetrice. Go ahead.
What I got her a little late, so I'm not sure how much we mentioned. There's three monsters in the archetype. Like this is it. These are the only monsters we have in our main deck.
And
So
then
like
there's 3 links, one of which is only out in the OCG.
like you have to supplement this with another package, and like messing with the light dark fairies. I legitimately like light like fairies and fiends. Like your best bet is probably like Archfiend Eccentric, and the 2 counter fairies, because like I don't know what else you really put into this. Like I guess you could splash this in Sulfur-Core, but Sulfur-Core is so all over the goddamn place.
And
that I don't think that
Sulfur
really-
also like wants to play with like evens and odds. Well, hey, guess what? Both of the scales for this archetype are odd, so like you have to be careful
No,
how you
It's
balance
a
that out.
problem.
Guys, fuck it. Harmonica, Fortune Fairies. Let's go.
It's a problem I've actually come up with before, because I think I was one of the few people that loves pendulum decks. And not just like pendulum blob, like actual pendulum archetypes. Pendulum archetypes don't play well with each other, like, ever.
Well, and this is something we went back. This is before everybody got in, but I did talk briefly about how, like, I mentioned that MBT's gotten a little bit of pushback from Pen players that, like, Pendulum Soup is not really a deck. Like, people aren't just playing all the best Pendulum cards, unless they're playing, like, Penned Magicians, which is technically all one archetype, but has a lot of, like, coverage and
It's
support.
inherently soup-ish, but
Yes.
it's different.
But
There's a difference between soup and gumbo.
But
You know what the deck
you
is
hit it on the
actually?
head, Dallas, which is that, like, a lot of modern Pendulum archetypes are intended to not be soupable. Like,
Well, it's
Konami
not
builds
even-
them so
it's
they
not
don't
even
build
I don't
a...
think it's a modern problem. Like, my favorite pendulum deck, I mean, people will argue it's not a pendulum deck, but it's a fucking pendulum deck. DDD does not play well with others.
No.
At all.
Also, if anybody argues that DDD's not a Pendulum deck, they're fucking smoking crack because, like
It's been using pens less, but it's still pendulum part of
No,
it.
it's still, arguably it's using pen more.
your Pend scale... The thing is, the power of the Pend scale as Pendulum monsters being both monster fodder and also effectively continuous spell traps, which also set up a type of extra deck summoning, is, like, they're good. It's, like...
Yeah.
And if they're good enough, you play them without the rest of the Pendulum scale. I'm
It's
looking
a-
at you, Super Heavy.
It's a penned deck that you don't pen summon a lot, but you
It's
do
like a
actually... You do scale a lot of the DDD monsters to activate their penned effects.
Like, do
It's
you
not
actually play a second scale in Super Sam?
I mean, you
Sometimes.
don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, we had some cute pen scales before Wakaushi, but Wakaushi is just too good. But
Wakaushi is really good.
picking up DDD, isn't there like huge link to just set 2 pen scales for free?
No,
Yeah,
it's,
their link to
scale
support
from
was
your
just fuck you, pen scale.
It's
Like,
fuck
how is
you,
that-
pen from your deck.
How's that not a pen deck?
It
I don't
is.
understand the logic.
Because it's like, but you don't actually pen summon that much. You synchro summon and you fusion summon. It's like, yes, because it was the same. But that's what I was going to argue is the Pendulum Soup deck. I disagree with MBT that it should be called Pendulum Soup because it's just called Yuya Kinship deck because that's what it fucking
I mean,
is.
yeah, like I
It's
think
just all the
I
cards
think just
Yuya
saying a
played in
Pen
the anime.
Magician, or even these days a Zark deck, because the new Zark support is enough to build a deck around. But you're playing just all the best of guys related to the U boys, you know, and it feels soupish, but it's really not because like it's built around a cohesive theme. Anyway, like we said, Cellatrice, Cellatrice. Actually, no, I'm gonna say Cellatrice because even though they have the ch in the Japanese, the TCG localizers forgot to put a double C in there. So fuck you, you've ruined it. Cellatrice.
As someone who failed Italian, that is one of the few rules I retain.
Cellatrice here says, while you control a monster except for her, your opponent's monsters can't target this card for attacks because she's a very baby. She's 12/12, to remind everybody. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is normal or pendulum summoned specifically, add a Harmonica card from your deck to your hand except Cellatrice. If this card is sent to the graveyard and you have 2 Harmonica cards in your pen zones, add her back to your hand. So, okay, cool. She recycles herself if you discard her or if she gets blown up by effects. And then if she's a normal or penned, she searches. This is the card they added after 6 months. This is not enough gas, Konami.
Well, this is kind of why I jokingly but seriously would consider playing Penned Exosister is because it's just a 4-star. Like, what else am I supposed to do? I'll make 4s.
But
She's a 4.
as you've seen with the fairy scale, they do actually explicitly call out they have link monsters in this deck.
Yeah.
Which have some very interesting ways they get made. So our first link monster is this one. Yes, this is the correct perspective of this card.
The
This
art in
is
this...
Duralume, Valmonican Heathen Hollow, or Hallow.
Is it
sorry.
meant to be the one under the water? Is it meant to be literally the opposite end of another card?
I mean, kinda. I
I'll
think they
say
do play
this.
off each other.
The art in this is like, I don't like it, but in a completely unique way. than any other Yu-Gi-Oh art.
Where it's like it's not bad, but you just don't like
I
it.
just hate this bordering. It really bothers me, and I don't know why.
Also, I want to say,
I think it's meant to be going for like the stained glass kind of thing.
no, because the
Or-
border
no,
is like the border is in the the middle ground
You know
here
what
because you
it
see the
remi-
shattered
you know what it
glass is like
reminds-
flying
You
out.
know what
of
it
it.
reminds me of? I guess this is why I don't like it. It reminds me of a scene in an anime where they introduce someone. And they
like,
pause
put,
the
like-
stream and put
yeah.
their name over it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Get
kind
the
of
little
like that. It
typewriter
is
sound
weird.
effect.
Yeah.
I don't mind some of these effects, like light breaking through from the darkness and the shattering
Oh no,
mirror.
that's
But
beautiful.
like, yeah, the border and the border not being at the front, like the border's not the foreground. You should just take the border out and leave the shattered glass effect. This card would look cooler.
Yeah, I think every card would be improved by it.
I will also say we did not cover it. I'm looking at Fiend Pendulum monsters. It is 90% DDD and Abyss Actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have 2 generic Pendulum monsters that are fiends. You want to hear them?
Sure.
You have Hollow Hollow. He's a decent one.
Yo.
Fine.
Hello.
And Pazuzu.
I love.
I mean,
love
honestly, play
fucking
Hollow Hollow in
Pazuzu.
this deck. He is a 3, so you can't pen summon him, but he's a tuner.
I mean, also eccentric, but the
Yeah.
problem with eccentric is that it's a high scale, so you're never keeping it on in your. Well, no, you have Angela with who's low. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, you can play her that way. That works.
Yeah.
That wombo combo works.
Eccentric
and
would probably work.
But
If you wanted to
Pazuzu will
lean-
probably ass though because he's
Yeah.
a 1 scale.
Pazuzu is funny.
So,
card's really easy
Duralume,
to
by the
beat
way,
in
like
weird
her
cards.
name in Japanese means Valmonica, odd deity, and is also written to be pronounced, by the way, Jurarume. So they're putting a real emphasis on the Duralume. Like they want you to get real deep in that D. It's weird. This is a Dark Fairy Link 1 with an arrow pointing bottom left. She has 2,500 attack for a Link 1, which is very high. Her materials are exactly 1 effect monster. And this is the thing that we alluded to several times, like Axe was talking about earlier, with like interesting ways to do this. Duralume says she cannot be Link summoned unless you have 3 or more resonance counters on a fairy monster in your pendulum zone. So requires you to be playing Angelo and have at least 3 counters to get here. You can only special summon Heathen Hallow once per turn. If this card is Link summoned, you can target monsters your opponent controls up to the number of resonance counters in your pendulum zone. Destroy them. So just on summon, which by the way you can do on your opponent's turn when they declare an attack. That's Angelo's scale effect. You can at least pop 3. At least pop 3 on a Link 1. Also, you can remove 3 resonance counters from your pendulum zone. This card can make up to 3 attacks each battle phase this turn, which on a 2,500 is not great. But you are ideally attack modulating with the other pen scale, so like maybe you can get over some stuff.
Yeah, some of the
Cool.
resonance counters.
Yeah. But like it's for a card that is a unique, in archetype Link 1 to summon. Not terrible. And technically her materials are completely generic, so like again, they're trying to future-proof the fact that this is a very lean engine by making it so that just any effect monster counts. But yeah, it's an odd one. I don't know if it's quite worth the payoff of having to gain life points 3 times.
I think it can be good in the right shell.
And obviously that means they have a light fiend monster that is a Link.
Because the thing about it is, I mean, I guess a little spoiler, but every single spell trap for Valmonica has a pay or gain effect on it.
Yes, I mean the problem is the ratios, right? Like I'm guessing the ideal is that you draw exactly your fairy and your fiend scale and 3 traps in your hand, and then just pick which one you want to set up.
You will simply draw the god hand.
But I know from long years of experience, that's simply not how this card game works.
Oh, yeah.
So you need some hand fixing. And the fact that, like,
Uh,
it took them 6 months to give them their generic on normal summon searcher is rough. This is our second
that's
one,
the-
by the way. This is our
That's
second
the
one.
other that's the other reason I would play it with Exo Sister, because they gain life points.
It is true. That is a thing they do. But this is Zebufera, Valmonican Hallow Heathen. Not Heathen Hallow. It's the other way around. Or Varmonica Divine Oddity, Zuberifa. This is like a demon dragon, which is cool.
Very ethereal.
Yeah.
It has motion blur, and I don't like it.
I don't think it's motion blur. I think it's supposed to
Oh,
be
no, that
fog.
was just my PC. Never mind.
Oh, okay. He was
It
just
went away.
freaking out. I do actually kind of like this effect of like the rainbow ring behind it. You know, light to dark kind of transition and
No,
like
yeah.
the curvature. That's neat.
Looks very wispy, so you can see
Yeah.
everything behind it as well.
For a light fiend, I do not know why this looks like it should be a sea serpent, because it's a very fishy
dragon.
ghost dragon. Well, that's why I say sea serpent, because it's a very fishy ghost dragon.
Well, because the other goes water.
No, obviously, it should be a worm.
Ah,
Hey,
yes.
I was like,
Worms
is
support.
there anything Earth about this one then?
No.
No, it's
I
Worm's
know.
Phantom Dragon. This is a light fiend. This is bottom right. Hey, who could have guessed? It's also 2,500 attack Link 1. So, you know, you guys can sense the vibes.
Hey, Omega.
yeah?
Would it happen to require you having 3 resonance counters on a fiend monster?
Yes, exactly. And you can also only special summon it once per turn. This is also probably why with this deck is not great. Both of their like in-archetype payoff monsters can only be summoned once per turn. So if
Yeah,
your
that-
opponent
I don't know
stops
why
you
they
or
did
cracks
that.
back, you're just fucked. I mean, I think
guess 'cause
I
it's a
know
Link
why.
one
It's
that you
because
can
if you
repeat
could
it.
unlimitedly link one, the link one, the fairy one, you just have infinite pops, unless you make its on summon
Yeah.
effect once per turn. So they just decided to go the other way, but it does mean that you're limited in bodies. So Zebrefa says, if cards you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, remove 3 resonance counters instead. Once per opponent's turn, quick effect, target one of your Valmonica normal spell traps that's banished or in your graveyard. Apply that card's activation effect. So during your opponent's turn, you can quick effect to use your spells in grave or banished, which is a cool effect. And like, you know, it's a soft once, but you can only summon it once per turn. It's got a protection effect, but that protection effect eats into your counters, so it's like, it's neat. Once again, I do not think this deck was built with enough inherent payoff. Like, okay, cool, you make Zuberufa and you make
Well,
Duralume.
I think it has enough payoff. Honestly, I think the biggest problem is this archetype doesn't have enough gas.
Okay, Dallas, how are we winning the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! With, I mean, I guess if you get both on turn and you can remove 3 counters, you have exactly 10,000 damage. Yeah, remove 3 to protect sucks ass also. I know it's because they want to, like, play with
that
the
effect
economy,
is-
but yeah.
Might as well not be here.
Like, yes, you can remove 3 counters to attack 3 times in the battle phase.
Maybe it's because I know what the field spell does that I think this.
Well, it's
archetype
true.
has
We
a
haven't
little
looked at
more.
their field spell yet, but yeah, like intrinsically, I don't think the two quote unquote boss monsters they were packaged with gives them enough juice to like win a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's
And I
also
also
no
think-
like, there's no real
Maybe
counterplay. Their biggest trick is make a go second board breaker that pops a lot, like that attacks for OTK. But it's a weird link one you have to set up for, so like it's
I think there's enough
odd.
generic links to make the deck work, but that's not exactly an exciting.
I mean,
way to
then in that case,
think of
literally
things.
just play Snake Eyes. Infinite materials. Play Fiend Link,
Okay.
that's a Link deck.
Nah, play Snake Eyes Fire King because it's way more fun.
Snake Eye Fire King is
Because
fun.
everything just explodes.
Alright, and they do actually, in the OCG, they have a new Link. They have a Water Link version, so they've got, you know, the upgrade to that lady. Let me see if I can find her card art, because like I said, this is only out in the OCG.
It looks so weird.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Admittedly, some of this is, you know, like, this is a mock-up that somebody has made, you know, blowing it up and posting it to the internet. But, yeah, so this is, tentatively, Valar, Valmonican and Hallow Hymn. Varmonica Divine Song, Valar. So it's Celatrice, but she's, you know, she can be your angle or your devil.
She's doing a fucking magical girl transformation sequence.
She's holding out her hand like it's a Kingdom Hearts opening. We still have
The dumbest thing.
Go ahead.
The dumbest thing to me was like she can be your wife or your dragon.
No, that's
no,
way too
she
specific.
looks about
Hey, she
12.
found her second stocking though. I just realized.
Yeah, but also
True.
her skirt became slightly see-through because you can see some wings.
No.
But
Her
skirt
weird
above-
see-through wings are above her skirt. It's
Yeah.
dumber off. It's stupid.
The wings have her. She has like thigh wings.
Yeah. Also, what I was going to bring up before, a couple before, technically this still has the border, but it's like being covered up by a new border of like creeping blue like vines, which is not terrible, but is confusing.
It's better, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like, okay, but thematically I don't get it because I do not believe this deck has been printed in like an EX book or anything, so we don't really have any like
My
lore.
brain's having issues because it really does not look like those wings are over that skirt.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
it looks
no,
like they're
it's
her skirt
very
is just
bad.
transparent, but I think that it is actually layered because
No,
like you
they
can see
are
them
over.
clipping
They
over
are
the
definitely
corset a
over.
little. But yeah, no, it's we're in the area where I don't think it's quite over designed because like my eye's not confused fully.
It's too busy though.
It is a little too busy. Like it's just like I don't know why there's all these design elements other than that I guess literally she's like got the other two she's like got the two Link ones glued to her. So Valar is a water spellcaster Link 2. She has 3,000 attack. She requires any two monsters exactly, including a Valmonica Link monster. Valar says that she is unaffected by non-Valmonica card effects while there are 6 or more resonance counters on your field, period. She gains 1 additional attack each battle phase for every level 4 Valmonica monster you control. This is another thing, by the way, that I think is why this deck is not good. It's trying to build like a pendulum engine to go into an OTK boss. I don't. It's weird. It feels weird to me. Like we're trying to build the towers that like OTKs in this deck, and it doesn't feel right. Once per turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster, negate, destroy, remove 3 resonance counters. So like we're building up to the control elements. This card is a solemn. Once per turn, a solemn effect. It's a towers when you have 6 counters. If you can get your extra littles on the board, she gets extra attacks, and she's got 3k, so like, it's 1 additional attack each battle phase, so if you just have 2 level 4s on your field, she can attack 3 times, hypothetically game over. We're building there, but it's still, like, ideally, if you're summoning this card, this means you want, like, 9 resonance counters on your field. Like, you want to have 3 that you can spend at least on a negate, and also have 6 so you're unaffected, which is, like, not impossible to get 6 spell trap or 9 spell trap activations in the course of, like, 1 turn, but is rough.
It is a lot to... It's a lot to devote to.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I have to double-check if their, like, field spell does it, but, the main problem I think I'm seeing so far with this is like a lot of other counter-based decks. There's nothing actually in Archetype that stops your opponent from fucking with your cards that have the counters on them. If you just blow up pen scales...
There's kind of a way, but not really on the field spell. It's weird.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look at the field spell next. It's just like I said, I haven't looked at it yet, so...
It's a little fucky. It's a little fucky
Yeah,
card.
like
That's all I'll say.
the not having, so far anyway, any inherent, like, back row protection, is like, okay, so if your opponent can be playing something as stupid as, like, Raigeki Break, if they just pop your 1 back row, like, and eliminate, like, half your counters, what do? Your counters go away. You can't do anything about it, I'm also not... I don't remember the rule book. If you negate a card that gains counters, does it lose counters?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's one of those, like, weird game state things. So, like, it's rough. A lot of decks based around counters get around this by either putting them on your opponent's monsters or by multiple sources of counters.
I found the card that makes this archetype kind of usable.
Oh,
And
what's
funny enough,
what's
it's
the
not
payoff?
their new. It's one of their spell cards.
Okay.
It's
Well, they
probably
have a
the
lot
most
of those,
bullshit
so we'll get
spell
in
card I've ever heard of.
If an effect like Skill Drain negates the effect of a card, like Break of the Magical Warrior, Royal Magical Library, all spell counters are removed from the monster.
Yeah. So if you
So
negated
that's the
Penzones-
precedent that negating a monster's effects, just wipes the slate. Screw you.
Yeah. That's a risky one.
That's annoying.
I mean, this is why we don't like floodgates, but it's still one of those things of like, if your opponent plays into the imperm column, and just it negates your pen scales, what are you doing? So this is their field spell. There's not a lot to talk about with the art. It's just very funny. This is Harmonica, the Agathococological voice. Heavenly and demonic voice selector, Harmonica. Again, this is why there probably should not be an L in this archetype. Funnily enough, it's the year 2024, and Konami fucked up the LR switch because it's supposed to be a glass harmonica with an R. If you don't know what agathococological means, though, it's a Greek word that describes something as being composed of both good and evil, which is a very deep cut. So, like, we have a thesaurus, but we can't fact check that harmonica has an R in it. It's weird.
Yeah, I am not quite sure why we went with this, but
this is your field spell.
It's a glass harmonica, which is
What the
interesting.
archetype's name is supposed to bring up. And glass harmonicas are cool. This one appears to have, like, the poison of the old man on it. We've got, one good potion, one bad potion.
you have the red pill and the blue pill.
Yeah. There's more of this, like, infinite water of the cosmos stuff going on. But other than that, yeah, it's a glass harmonica. There's not really a lot to write home about here.
Yeah.
So this is their field spell.
Spoilers if you don't know, because you're not an Old West obsessed idiot like me. Glass harmonicas have very little to do with actual, like, in-hand harp harmonicas. They're giant, like, piano-sized cabinets.
Yeah, you mean literally they can see one on screen.
Yeah, my first thought was, try playing this with your mouth.
No, I believe it's called a glass harmonica and sometimes an armonica because it makes sound by resonating the glass.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is the Harmonica. It's a field spell. When this card is activated, add a Harmonica monster from your deck to your hand. So yeah, okay.
Already a good start.
We've got a field spell that's an inherent searcher. That's good, especially because you have a pen scale. If a card in your pendulum zone has a third resonance counter placed on it, target one monster your opponent controls, take control to the end phase, but it can't declare an attack. So again, this is kind of, I think, like...
Free link material.
Yeah. Get your link material, and also makes room for OTKs.
Also just get rid of things that can't be destroyed.
Yeah. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate one per turn. So, like, it's cute. This field spell only has 2 effects, though. All the good ones have, like, 3 effects. I'm joking, but, like, it's a good spell in archetype. It gives you more payoff to the counters, but again, it requires your opponent to have monsters out when you're making it. So, like, again, very weirdly placing this as a going second deck, even though I think a lot of pendulum decks are not go second decks.
Yeah.
Like, I think they gave you options to go first because, like, again, Angelo's effect is to, like, summon a link monster when your opponent declares an attack, but that's the, like, most telegraphed shit ever. Well, yeah, no. Caesar brought up in chat. The steal is also very important for link mats because they literally didn't have the third main deck monster for a while.
Yeah, that's the other thing. When you just had the 2 pendulum monsters, there wasn't any way to link someone without being forced to use your other.
But now, admittedly, if you have, like, extra monsters in hand, that's fine. They do have effects on normal and special that, like, give you more spell activation. So, like, I think Konami wanted you to be also summoning extra copies. But yeah, it's a weird one. And again, it's kind of like we've been pointing out. This is a deck that's got a very weird gas situation. Like, you need a really good hand of all the right cards to, like, fully flow through your combo. Now, obviously, like, starting with Valmonica, the voice of good and evil, I'm not going to try and keep saying that Greek word. I can say it, but it's going to get very fucked up if I keep trying to say those K sounds. Like, if you have the field spell, great starter. Cool, great. Okay, so you search the other pen scale, you discard one, you set scales, etc., etc. But then you don't have more normal spell traps to activate for effects to get counters.
Well, we'll get there.
I mean, yes, there are. I'm sure there are non-normal spell and trap cards that give you more spell and trap cards, Dallas. But like, it's still one of those things, right? Like, you need cards, and this deck so far doesn't have a really strong like draw engine. The field spell is like a +0; it replaces itself. Go ahead.
I forgot that the deck fucking these cards came out without the lady. It was just the fucking two monsters.
Yeah, didn't have the middle lady. I mean, that's why the field spell has that steal effect. But like I said, like the field spell is a +0 technically because it just replaces itself with a new monster.
I want to be clear. I think this deck is absolutely terrible pre the 2024 update. Like, this deck just doesn't seem to work pre that.
Yeah.
I think they added some bandage cards though.
And again,
Looking
that's
at
my thing
some
of
the
like,
Japanese lists.
I don't understand how Konami like makes their decisions about what decks are good. Like, this deck got Band-Aid cards, cool. It got Band-Aid cards at the same time they are printing new U-Bell. You know, they're printing like U-Bell and Gimmick Puppet support, which is fucking smoking super meth. We're printing new like generic engines like
I'm
Snake
so
Eyes
happy.
and Fiendsmith. Fucking Tenpai is like the platonic ideal of the OTK deck.
I think there is a. I don't want to say it's a problem. Like I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem or
It's
an
just a
issue.
thing.
It is a situation in Konami's test department of they just try things, they make things, and they test things on more than likely too fair a playing field. We discussed this many times. We bring up we bring up anecdotes over and over again, like repeatedly, of how some test grounds like they play test a new game or system under very strict rules that no real competitive player will abide by.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it reminds me, like, it's kind of a different problem than Magic does, but it gives the same feel to the player, where it feels like it's a magical lottery every time a set gets released, and whoever picks the Magic random lotto ball, suddenly their deck is amazing.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh does kind of feel like that sometimes. Like it's we've got the bingo machine go, and it's just like, do the gods of game design say that your deck is good this week or not? Because like, and I obviously, I personally, I know that like this is an objection I do hear from some like Yu-Gi tubers sometimes. I don't object when Konami puts pack filler, basically, especially like at common. Like, if every card was one uniform rarity and your chances of getting every single card in a pack were all the same, you know, you can argue whether or not that hits the dopamine hit. I don't know if that like doesn't just turn Yu-Gi-Oh into literally, well, what's the best deck? Like, if every card is the same like rarity and the same commonality and the same price point, then every format is probably tier 0 because everybody just picks the best deck on paper all the time.
This is why Yu-Gi-Oh needs to make newer formats, because Magic figured out this strategy. It's they don't need to short print anything anymore, because they milk all of their money out of Commander players who will pay for shiny cardboard that looks slightly different.
Well, I mean, and
So they
Konami's
don't have
trying
to
that.
screw
They're
over
doing
the other
the like rarity collections to like do rarity increases, and there's the fact that like the new Magia Master Dragon is like only quarter century rare, so he's like hella rare. No idea what they were smoking with that one. But I don't personally mind like the idea of like lower level power cards and sets, especially as pack filler, because while Yu-Gi-Oh does not like formally have a lot of sealed or limited environments, it does have some, and so like like you can elect to run Common Charity or like Rivalry of the Warlords, right? You know, you can like pick decks that are non-meta, and people make their own like draft formats and cubes and shit. We've done that. We haven't like done any of it on camera, but we've tried it out before. So like, I don't mind that like they just make up new cards. It is just weird to me though sometimes when they're like, okay, so you know, we've decided that these like 3 old archetypes from like 2 years ago get like 1 new card each at common. It's really great for your deck, but also we have a lot of new hollows in this set that it completely blows out of the water. I will say though, this is to counterpoint a specific thing. I know MBT like looks at a lot of cards and is like, why the fuck is this card printed? Almost every single card he looked at when he talked about that were all V-Jump promos that were imported to the TCG. So those cards are bad on purpose. They're not supposed to be in core sets. It's just how the TCG decides to release them. They're supposed to be funny haha promo cards for 12-year-olds buying magazines.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes they're nice to have. Like
occasionally a V-Jump promo is good. Most of them are just like...
Stratus.
Well, yeah. I mean, Shonen Jump promos like 10, 15 years ago were cracked, but I actually prefer that they don't put meta cracked cards as promos anymore.
Like they put like a photon card in there, but that's not like it's not like putting Stratus in there.
Magic did that once, and it nearly caused a fucking riot.
I think the photon card that was a V-Jump promo is like okay, but it's not like
it's
great
like I said,
either.
it's nice, but it doesn't.
But a lot of them are like anime or manga tie-ins that are not meant to be like super good. I need to fill up my bottle of water. I have pulled up for you. Oh god, sorry. Loth physically doesn't know how to make his microphone loud enough to talk over Dallas, who I have at 79%. So he's just shitposting through Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Ban all the fiend monsters.
I don't know why my mic says no to me sometimes.
Wow, it's
maybe I should just stop yelling.
I mean, I think it's because your gain or your inputs are low, but I don't know what part of them is low, so I don't know where you go to fix that. But I've pulled up their first spell trap. This is Harmonica Chosen Melody. I will read its effects to you, and you guys can discuss it while I run away to go fill my water bottle. This is a normal trap that says apply one of these effects. You have to control a Harmonica monster card to activate and resolve this effect. So if your opponent pops a monster while you're resolving, you're fucked. If you control a Link monster, you can do both. Gain 500 LP for the rest of the turn. Your opponent can't target Harmonica monsters with effects. Take 500 damage, negate an effect your opponent controls until the end of this turn. So it's a non-targeting imperm.
That is applied in sequence.
Yes.
I like the art.
I mean,
we got our Zebu Freya. He's just howling. He's howling like a harmonica. That's what harmonicas do, right?
He's just boofing.
I know you're doing a bit, but like I thought you'd go with a higher bar.
But yeah, I mean like, throwing protection on your guys is nice. The 500 and the burn and life point gain, I mean, it's neat. I really don't think there's too much to this trap card though. Like, it's nice to get the targeting protection and a big negate.
Yeah, it's a non-targeting negate, which isn't nothing.
Alright, it is non-targeting.
So it's just the problem is it's a trap card in an archetype that doesn't really support trap cards.
Like you could probably like do some dumb nonsense like transaction rollback.
I mean, and yes, you could probably do that, but yeah. So I got back just in time to say hear Dallas talking about how it's a trap card in an archetype that doesn't support traps. Yes, I agree. This is a deck that, like I said before, it feels like it can't make up its mind whether it's supposed to be going first or second.
Hold on, wait. Omega, I had a big brain thought.
Yeah?
So this is a normal trap, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
How viable is Harmonica Labyrinth?
Not. This, you'll notice, Dallas, neither of these card effects remove a monster from the field. So you don't get to do any Labyrinth things. I mean, you can play Trap Trick and you can play, like, Trap Track and, like, Transaction Rollback, like Vesper talked about. But, yeah, it's, just one of those things where, like, I mean, obviously, it's effect to damage yourself, dome yourself for 500. It's a non-targeting, negate. That's not terrible.
It is.
It's good.
It
honestly.
can be a very impactful trap card in the moment. The problem is just getting the power to set it up. And just as a brief aside, we mention all the time, rollback has to also be. It's got to be on some list, on some short list. I'm like. They gotta keep that fucker on a short leash.
Yeah, no, I don't think that like transaction rollback is a card that will be at 3 for an infinite amount of time.
Yeah, you can hit Beatrice and it solves some of the problem, but it's still going to be a card that causes issues.
I'm pretty sure rollback is an anime card, which is probably why it's terribly designed.
Yeah, it's a brains card.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. I think the biggest condemnation of this is that everything about this archetype's monsters say they want to go second, and then they have trap cards.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, if you can get it into the graveyard, like I think it's the Fiend Link one, says you can quick effect activate a banished or in graveyard spell trap. So like that's not terrible. Like this is effectively a quick effect if it's already in your graveyard or banished. So you can activate them in sequence, but those are all like once per turn. The deck is very fair and balanced, which is like again, fundamentally decks succeed in the meta because they have something about them that is either outright unfair or is just so unique that it's like, well, okay, this isn't really unfair. It's just like, what the fuck do I do about this? Like, I think that Snake Eyes is in that space where, like, some of the cards in Snake Eyes are probably unfair. I think the main problem with the deck is just the fundamental mechanic of, like, putting all your monsters and putting all your opponent's monsters in the back row as spell traps is just, like, so fundamentally alien to Yu-Gi-Oh! That many decks that are not Snake Eyes are just like, well, what the fuck do I do about this?
In a legitimate compliment to some of Konami's recent tier 1 decks, even both our tier 0 decks, Tournament and Snake Eyes, they were overpowering decks by pure brute force. I would not say either of them are particularly unfair decks, because tier, while it does mill 50,000 cards and activate 50 billion effects, your opponent's still getting mills as well. Like your opponent is still getting resources to pay off things.
I'm gonna be real. I think the thing that really broke tier was the Yoshizu cards and not actually the tier cards.
I think most people agree with that. And also, I want to say the thing about that. By the way, this card's not in Master Duel yet. This is Harmonica Creator. But what I want to say about tier as well is, I think the reason why people got tired of that tier 0 format, and some people have genuine nostalgia, is tier is a very high skill ceiling deck. The tier mirror requires you to use a lot of brain power because you both have a lot of shit going on in your graveyard. So like, it's a very exhausting game to play, but it's not like a turbo stun deck where you're just like, ho, you can't play. It's like, God, I have like 5 activations I can do in graveyard right now, but you have 3, so let's see who's smarter with their active. It's a very complex matchup.
It required a very intricate knowledge of like, I wouldn't say chain blocking necessarily, but like it required a very intricate knowledge of how to sequence and structure your combos to make it as impossible for your opponent to deal with.
Yeah.
But it never felt like you were setting up 50 billion Omni-Negate board that your opponent can never do anything
The reason
about.
why people are tired of Snake Eyes is because it is a lot less skill intensive, and it's because, unfortunately, if you're on the receiving end, every Snake Eye combo looks basically identical. I've seen enough replays to know what most of the lines are like. It's just
that's why I like playing DDD, because then you get a different game every time.
Yeah, your combo ends on Nibiru every time.
Actually, wait, guys, stop. I DDD only played through Nibiru like twice.
Sorry, Vesper really got me with that one. That went deep in my chest. Ugh.
I thought DDD got through Nibiru at least like twice.
Now it does.
It does these days, but for a while, Nib was the board ender. So
before its latest round of support, it really did end on Nibiru.
But yeah, the Harmonica Creator, which was
Who was the
Harmonica
anymore,
creator
yeah.
God in the OCG. If you wanna, despite the fact that she's a spellcaster, if you want to see what this chick's vibes are like. This is a continuous trap for some reason that says Harmonica link monsters you control gain 1200 attack while 6 or more resonance counters are on your field. So once again, pushing your stats up higher. You can use each of the following effects of creator once per turn. If your opponent special summons, you can, except during the damage step, immediately link summon a link monster. This is pretty good because your other summon a link on your opponent's turn require them to declare an attack, which is, again, the most telegraphed thing in the universe. And if this card is sent from the hand or field to graveyard, you can place 1 resonance counter on a card in your pendulum zone that you can put resonance counters on until it has 3. This, if you discard it or if it gets popped, you get to just fill up your back row if you have no counters. If you have more than 3, fuck you. Again,
real quick, the pendulums can have more than 3 counters, correct?
Yes, they can.
Just
There's
the
no
third
cap
counter is
on
what
them.
triggers-
Yeah, the
The
third
third
counter
counter is
triggers
what
the field
triggers
spells.
that field spell effect.
So, like, on the one hand, if you're going second and you use Creator to discard to do your Pendulum Scale setup, right, and you've already got your field spell, that means if your opponent has a monster on board, you can immediately steal it. You've got 3 counters, so all your links are alive. The problem is that if you already have counter set up and your opponent just, like, blind pops Creator, you don't get anything out of it. It's a card that's lost. I appreciate the effort, but I don't think this deck is not down bad enough for counters. They couldn't have just said, if this card's sent from hand or field to graveyard, you can place 1 resonance counter on a card. I get that they're trying to make it go to, like, 3, but, like, damn.
Yeah, this card is... I'm looking at the lists of this deck. I don't even see this card run.
Well, you may not see it run in some lists due to the fact that it's not out everywhere yet.
Even in the OCG, I don't see it.
Yeah, this is not good support. They're trying to, like, solidify that OTK strategy by giving you, like, even more push with attack points, but it's not doing enough. So, our next...
It is unfortunately just a frequent issue with archetypes like this, where if the first like the first few waves isn't anything crazy, you basically have to inject like liquid cocaine in these archetypes to make them go nuts.
Pray for a Ubel situation.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, they do have some good cards. Our next spell card is Harmonica Disharmonia. So, dissonance. Apparently, by the way, the little fairies and devils
Wait, I think we missed
drink the medicine.
Or we missed a trap, rather.
Did we not do a followed rhythm?
Yeah, we didn't do Let's Follow the Rhythm.
Dallas, what letter is followed rhythm start with?
Right, we're doing alphabetical. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I forget we do spell and trap cards in just a giant...
we do them in bulk.
mesh.
We should specify this came out in Legacy of Destruction. This was another Band-Aid card, which is probably why it's fucking cracked. But yeah, I just threw all the spell traps in.
That's fair enough, because there aren't too many trap cards.
Yeah. So we will talk about that one next. But yeah, this is Disharmonia, and like I said, this is technically Legacy support, so it is good. This is not like a creator situation. I do want to say the art is interesting because, like I said, it looks like our little fairy and fiend friends are drinking the weird poison of the old man potion.
Or they're getting ready to make it. I mean,
yeah, unknown. But it is a one that does stuff. So this is a normal spell that says, first of all, its default effect is place one resonance counter on 1 card in your pendulum zone you can put a counter on, and then apply 1 of these effects. So just like straight up, already got a better effect than Creator does. This just puts a counter. So you're getting like usually at least 2 counters. You can gain 500 LP, and then you can add a banished Harmonica card back to your hand, or you can take 500 damage, add a Harmonica card from your graveyard to your hand. Both of these are except Disharmonia. You can only activate 1 per turn. So it does require you to have your graveyard or banish already set up, but again, your scales discard to do the thing, so it's pretty easy to actually like set them up so that you have a card in graveyard and then just get it back with this. So like this is a pretty good spell. This is just an extender, but it's a good extender.
Yeah.
And Valmonica needs every extender they can fucking get.
And funnily enough, I don't think this is actually the best spell from their Band-Aid list.
Yeah. Followed Rhythm.
Follow the Rhythm, which I actually think is a great ass card.
Well, first of all, I think I want to say I like this art because it shows Duralume, but right side up, and there's no weird border.
Yes.
She is now comprehensible.
She is no longer biblically accurate. Somebody chuckled. That's good. I got one chuckle. Put in my chuckle bank.
Your Chuckle Bucket?
This does make me question. I don't know if she has arms or just has more wings, or she's just doing a lens flare Kamehameha wave with her hands in my face. I can't tell.
I think it is hard to tell. I'm guessing she's doing like the hand forward thing, and it's just lens flare, just like it's lens flare hiding the entirety of the angle of her arm.
I gotta bust out my football marker. I think that's her hand.
Is this that new meme going around with that priest absolving your sins online?
Well, I'm not familiar with that one, but maybe. Yeah, I think I brought out my football pencil. I think that's her hand. So I think she has hands. It's very hard to tell.
Yeah, that's a hand. I'm looking at it very zoomed. It is. Because you can also see her hand's shadow on her wing.
I will post the 4-second TikTok and Fail Betrayal for you real quick, Omega.
No,
Thank you, Whisper.
I will look at it later, because if I play it as is, the audio will be streamed to the internet, which I don't know if somebody will be upset about. It'll also be very
I don't
confusing.
think 4 seconds long enough for copyright ID to even trigger.
Well, I guess we could try. It was like 4 seconds.
I absolve you of your sins. You have been forgiven.
That's a good punchline. That's a good punchline.
No, I was looking at something else.
It's a good one.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, let's
Was
actually
it
talk
Dark
about
Mage?
Followed Rhythm. This is a normal trap that says apply one of these effects. I also wish. Let me double check. Yeah, this was in the Valiant Smasher's core. If you must control a monster card to activate and resolve. Also, by the way, again, Konami, way too much kid gloves. You have to control a Harmonica monster card to activate and resolve this. That, like I said, that means if your opponent somehow just does a pop while you're resolving, the card fizzles.
The idea was definitely to have a pair of 2 big wombo combo trap cards to tie into both of the Link monsters, but yeah, like the restrictions are way.
Because this one also says if you control the Harmonica Link, or a Harmonica Link, you can apply both in sequence.
Yeah.
You
I
can
still
gain
think it's
500
good.
LP and destroy a spell trap, or take 500 LP, return a monster from the field to the hand. Neither of these say target, by the way, which is pretty good. But again, these are both normal traps. So, it's good.
Okay, Omega, I know you said it's a meme, but I definitely want to try when it gets on Master Duel, Valmonica Labyrinth.
I mean, this one actually works for Labyrinth combos, because, you just, instead of playing a copy of,
Wait, you run Labyrinth as a combo deck? Oh. I'm
Yes.
doing Labyrinth wrong. I run it as a stun deck.
I know you do. You're
I mean,
terrible.
it can do both.
I'm legally allowed to play 2 Eradicator. I think it's still 2. It might just be 1, but it doesn't matter. It's a non-zero number. So I play Eradicator, and I play, 1 D-Barrier, 1 Daruma, but your deck doesn't do anything if normal spells don't remove monsters from the field, so I usually play it as an interrupt deck. I'm playing, one of Dogmatic Punishment, Sen Entis, 1 Compulse, etc. It's I play Labyrinth as a control deck that is not necessarily a stun deck. I play it all
So
about
do you wanna know-
interruptions.
Do you want to know what my win con is in my Labyrinth deck? You're gonna hate me.
Is it Skildrin?
No, it's Exodia.
Just
Just
play
hard
Exodia
drive Exodia.
Paleo. It's much less bad. Dallas, you can just play Chaos Angel and you can end the game in 2 turns. You don't have to wait for
I
Exodia.
can make people sad.
Dallas, those people will just surrender anyway. You'll never make it to
Exactly.
Exodia. Well, stop
I'm a
wasting
bad
our fucking
person.
time then. You are a bad person. Mr. Konami, this man is a bad person. Please ban him from Master Duel.
Lightning this man.
Yes, it's true.
Dallas, I absolve you of all your cards and your sins.
This is why I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, because all my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks are control decks.
So, sorry, I
What?
just imaged the dumb thing of like, before I even do like the hand pose, I'd go for the screen and take us fucking deck boxes and then absolve him.
I mean, I think it's just the getting blasted back effect. It's just all his cards fall out his pocket. But no, followed rhythm is again a card that's good on paper, but requires you to have your full setup and set this card. And guess what, chat? If you're not activating this card, you're not gaining counters, which means you can't fucking do shit. I think that's the primary problem with the trap cards is, like, they're good, and you can, you know, like, put them in graveyard, normal summon one of your pendulum scales, use their effect to banish one of these cards to, like, do its pay effect or its up effect.
So can we talk about the stupid broken card now?
Oh, is that, is Intonare the really good one I'm thinking
Oh,
of?
sorry, there's one before Intonare. There's another in card, so... No, it's not Intonare. Intonare's kind of bad.
Yeah, it's Invitare then.
Invitare.
Some of these are, like I said, in Italiano. But yeah, like as I've mentioned before, again, this is a deck that really, I think the thing that's killing it when I'm just like looking at it in a vacuum is Konami couldn't make up their mind whether or not it's optimal for you to go first or second. They tried to give you tools to both go first and second. This is a problem that a lot of go second decks do have, is when you get into games 2 and 3, your opponent is just like, okay, you go first, good luck. Right? Like, and that kills a lot of go second decks.
Or the Cyber Mirror, where whoever wins the coin flip just wins the whole set.
Yeah, no, like there's a couple of those you know Wambo Cambos that go on, but this deck has a problem where like we said, you need a lot of gas to get going because you need a lot of counters, and the way you get counters is you activate spell traps and pay or gain LP, but then and not even pay LP because it's take damage. So self-damaging cards are good, but pay LP cards don't do anything. Like, oh God, like genuinely, hey, I got a weird one for you. Konami's gonna do the Extreme Trial Duels Skull Invitation soon. I believe Skull Invitation is the take damage when a card goes to graveyard.
Yes, 300 every time a card hits the grave.
You should play that in this deck and play Harmonica in that one. Loth, where were you going? You were saying something?
No,
Are you sure?
I didn't say anything.
I thought I heard Loth say something. Chad, am I okay?
I mean, I think this card is fine. It's just not...
I mean, the card art is just the fairies making the potion. I don't know what the potions do, but we're making them.
She's spiking the punch.
No, the potions are the resonance counters, I assume.
I guess.
So,
Intonare, we have not said what Intonare does.
Oh, wait, I just realized. Sorry,
Go for it.
one brief aside. It's the fucking the glass thing where you run your hand, you run your like a slightly wet hand along like the thin of a glass with water or something. I guess I don't
Make the
fucking know.
noise, yeah. No.
That works.
No, this is great.
Intonare says apply one of these effects. Unless you have a Harmonica card in your pendulum zone, your opponent chooses the effect. Again, what the fuck are we doing here? You should just say you can't activate this card unless you have a card in your pen zone. You can gain 500
I
LP.
think that's funny.
Then,
I
if
like that.
you have any monsters in your graveyard that can be special summoned, your opponent special summons one of them to your field. They choose one to be special summoned. Really
like
weird
this.
effect. Or
I'm gonna be
take 500
honest.
damage. Add a level 4 monster from your graveyard to your hand. This card's weird. I get what we're going for. This is weird.
Yeah, this card's kind of okay.
I mean, I guess it's a card that, like, it's really easy to activate so you can start getting counters, but, like, it's really weird.
No, it is. It very much is.
Your opponent picks one of your monsters that can be special summoned from your graveyard to special summon.
We also have the Minio version of this later. We'll see. which just does the same, has the same restriction.
But yes, Invitare, which I can tell is a good card
Now
because
let's
it's
talk about
super
a card
rare
that as a
in
pen
Master
player
Duel.
I would salivate to get.
So Invitare, which I'm pretty sure is just Italian for invitation. I guess there's a cool stained glass vine arch before you walk on.
I've read
to the
I've read like the first line of text. Oh, this card's already great.
No, this card.
Yeah,
is
so this card does not have a pay or gain LP effect, but it's still really good. So that's just keep that in mind, chat. Apply one of these effects. Bullet point number 1. Special summon a Valmonica from your deck. Also, for the rest of the turn after this resolves, you can't activate effects of monsters on the field except Valmonicas.
Who cares?
Dot 2. If you control a non-pendulum Valmonica monster, take 2 Valmonica pendulum monsters with different names from your deck, add one of them to your hand, put the other in your face-up extra. You can only activate 1 Invitare per turn. Also, by the way, this is a thing I haven't thought about, but it's important for Master Duel testing. I don't know if Konami designed this deck with the thought that you can run, because you're playing a Link deck anyway, you can run Electromite in it.
Also,
I feel like it had to have been because Electromite has always been legal in the OCG, and as much as we chide them for it, cards are generally designed with the OCG meta in mind. In a general sense.
When they're not world premieres.
Also, Electromite should be unbanned.
Honestly, out of all of the sins of Link 2s, I think Electromite at 1 would probably not be the worst thing in the universe.
Look, you would have every pendulum player pog out their brains, play it in their
and then immediately lose at their next YCS. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. It'd be funny.
Yeah. So like I think it's funny that Electromite was like the first of the generic Pend 2 extra deck supporters to like go in the TCG when honestly she's like the least problematic one. I think Verte and Hulk did way more damage to this format.
Oh, God.
Fucking
Hulk
Isolde did
Firex.
more damage to this game than I think Electromite did over her lifespan.
Yeah, that's all they stayed much longer.
Like, there are plenty of links that I think should stay banned forever. Electromite is definitely not one.
I can definitely see why we hit Electromite at the peak of the pendulum soup. But
when
at this
it was
point,
hit, I agree. But at this point, like, when you're taking freaking what was it, the Yang Zing card that they took off?
Yeah, they brought back Ding Dong.
I think it's 3 at this point.
was
Did they let
Yazzie
Ding
or
Dong out?
Ding
Or was
Dong?
it Yazzie?
Ding Dong.
Denglong?
Yes,
Yeah, Ding
we
Dong.
know, but we call him Ding Dong.
Yeah. But like, no, Electromite doesn't need to stay banned.
Yeah. But no, Invitar is a phenomenal card. It's a quick play, by the way. I don't think that came out yet. So this was their like one of their other Legacy of Destruction cards, part of that second wave of support, and it's real juiced. Just like special summon your Valmonica from the deck, or just
The scale from the deck is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Now,
even
admittedly,
without
you can only
Electromite-
activate that if you can find your 1 normal summon, your 1 non-pend monster. But still.
but also there's plenty of ways to search for that card.
Are there plenty of ways?
Like,
I
I'm
mean,
beginning
you
to
can activate
see-
the field spell, but
I'm beginning to see it has somewhat of an engine.
yeah, it's got a
it's just
flow,
through spell
but
traps.
we only have 2 spell traps left. And keep in mind, 2 of them are normal traps, so it's like very hard to do the setup.
You need normal spells.
Yeah, but we've got a couple more juice. So like, there's some stuff here. I think the main problem is just like we said, is just
They need like 1 more body.
yeah, they probably need another body, and also just
They
like
need,
in
like,
general, like
2.5 more bodies.
the problem is your ratios
Yeah, no, I
of
agree.
like. This is a deck where you're fucking down bad for everything, right? Like you need counters, so like you're gonna be playing cards that are shit. But if you're being smart, you're gonna cut some cards that don't do anything. So like, it's just one of those things where like you got to figure out your ratios, and you're like, ugh. This one is Skeletta.
Skeletta.
Skeletta?
This one's the other really good one. Skeletta.
It's got a
It'd be
sounding
Skeletta.
OCG.
I
but
love
think
Wish
it-
for Mercury.
No, it'd be Sa, because SC is Sa.
Oh no, it
Once
is.
again,
Yeah, it is. Also, actually, it says this is based on the Italian word for choice, which goes into celatry. So I think it is just celetta.
Yeah, it's Celetta. I failed Italian, but I still remember
Conscience.
some of the things.
Celetta. This is another normal spell. This is also our thumbnail choice today. It says apply one of these effects. Your opponent chooses the effect if you don't have a Harmonica card in your pendulum zone.
I still love that.
Gain 500 LP. You can put one card from your hand on the bottom of the deck, then draw 2. I like this as the order of operations, not draw 2, tuck back 1, but
Yes.
gain 500 LP, tuck a card, and then draw 2. Decent. Probably the effect you will be activating the most on this card because, God, do you need those 2 cards?
No, it's so
But
good.
also, you can take 500 damage to add a Harmonica spell trap from your deck to your hand, except Celetta, which is also
Honestly,
really good.
With Invitare before Invitare came out, I would say you'd almost never activate the second part. But with Invitare as an option, that's just very strong.
Well,
I'm starting to see some of this.
this is basically a really shit painful choice.
Yes.
Like you're probably fine shotgunning this.
Even if I mean, obviously, again, you probably want to maximize your counter gain because, as we've talked about, your counter economy is a little fucked. Like, their Link 2 wants you to have, 9 counters to do all its shit. But yeah, I think you can just shotgun this and just tell your opponent, okay, pick your poison. Do you want me to draw 2?
Worst case scenario, you hard brick, you don't get anything, you don't get anything great in your hand. You can shotgun this, and your opponent goes like, well, fuck, dude, dude, do I want to give you the guaranteed good card? And
also,
hope I can interrupt
this
you,
is
or
like
do
the
or do
only.
wanna
I think
let
this is
you-
the one of the few cards in their combo. I mean, there are a couple others, but this is one of the few cards you can ash. So
Yo, Omega.
you can
I
make
just
your
had
opponent
a
bite on this before they
huge-
do anything.
I just had a huge brain play.
What?
So there's a hand trap that I think this deck is uniquely set up to take advantage of that I don't really see any other deck run.
Which one?
Spooky Dogwood.
I mean, you would gain LP. Spooky
Every
Dogwood is
time your opponent
actually
stu-
getting played more often.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, we are kind of we are seeing a handful of we are seeing a handful of like niche hand traps becoming more prevalent. Like I mentioned earlier, because Snake Eyes is just such an incongruent such an incongruent combo that the big names just don't have any effect on. People are testing out other random nonsense in hopes of trying to keep the deck in check.
Yeah, and Dogwood does an interesting thing because if you play it, oh god, sorry, I see a comment on r/Yu-Gi-Oh from 5 years ago. It's like, is Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood the next Maxine? They're like, no, it's only good in aromas and it applies arbitrarily small pressure for -1. The card is not good, and well, it is making tournament lists now, so it took a while.
Okay. It's crazy what 5 years does.
Yeah. So all the reviews from 5 years ago, which for some ungodly reason are all the top results Google gave me, are Dogwood is not good, and it probably wasn't good 5 years ago. But hey,
it was dog shit 5 years ago.
Stopping your opponent from OTKing you is not terrible. It says main phase or battle phase, so it is actually a card that can work around Tenpai OTKs, and also Snake Eyes has a lot of fucking special summoning too randomly. So it can. Spooky Dogwood can put you in a position where your opponent cannot do enough damage to kill you.
Well, with the gain life effect, I actually think Spooky Dogwood is really good in this deck.
Yeah, it's a pity that this deck is all Fiend Fairies. If Konami was smart and made this a deck that you could play plants in, especially considering the aroma support is very good for plant decks. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy good to gain LP and get stuff.
Oh my god, I see a plant list. Someone's forcing it.
Oh, did someone actually try and make an aroma plant LP gain deck with a Harmonica package?
The Valmonica decks I've seen are Valmonica Exosister, because some people think like me. Let's see, let me bring it up. It's Valmonica Exosister, Valmonica Sun Avalon, and Valmonica Sulfurcore, obviously.
I googled Valmonica aroma. I found a YG organization post from a few months ago discussing a aroma Valmonica deck.
Yeah, so there's some people trying out there, and I mean, like I said,
I'm
any
seeing-
kind of like self burn or LP gain engine like works. But this is our last trap. This is Valmonica Versare. This is, the purple cup one, as opposed to the red cup one.
And it does still have the same restriction. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry, boys.
You need a Valmonica in your pen zone, and your opponent chooses the effect. You can gain 500 LP. Then you can excavate cards to the top of your deck until you find a Valmonica, add it to your hand, shuffle everything else back. Very funny. Or take 500 damage, send a Valmonica from your deck to your graveyard except Versare.
Another
So-
pretty solid card to just
Yeah.
shotgun if you brick. Like,
Yes, no, because, at worst, your opponent gives you a Foolish or a Foolish Burial Goods, which is pretty good. I think the main thing is just that, again, if you're in down bad situation where you just need more gas, you probably want to do the Excavate. Obviously, the Send to Graveyard works, too, if you've done a normal or special this turn.
This is either foolish or reasoning.
Yeah. And, those are both pretty good, but I think the funny thing is, a lot of these cards are good. I think the two normal traps are a little too slow, and the continuous trap is dog ass. I do not know why they printed it.
The worst aspect of the traps are the obscene restrictions,
Yeah.
but the effects are good.
Yes, the effects are good, so you probably would play them either in your main or your side as an option. It's
If
just
you
that,
can get there,
setting them up is
there,
harder.
they're worth it. It's just the hard.
The
part.
problem is
Yeah,
just it's very funny. I read the front half of these cards, the links, the main deck monsters, and I'm like, okay, so this deck does stuff, but it seems like it has a real economy problem. Let's look at the spell traps. Most of these spell traps are pretty cracked, but my brain keeps going back to but God, you need to activate so many of these cards to get enough counters to do anything. It's.
Yeah. Genuinely, I do think right now, at least with how things are, this does need a Sun Avalon or an Exorcist or some other archetype that will help with the counter situation.
Yeah, you need some
Because
other source of gaining LP or burning yourself, or just
I am
something else
glancing
to do with
through-
your board.
I'm glancing through this list. It seems pretty competent. You're you're basically playing a full baby package of you're playing Jasmine, Rosalina. You're playing one each of the big girls, your Laurel Extender spells. You're playing 3 Celta Invitare Field Spell, of course, and 1 Intanare, 2 of the you're playing two. You're playing 2 of the other situational ones. And trap wise, we're just playing. We're playing 5 1-of traps, the 3 wins, and the 2 the 2 normal traps. Pretty competent deck, I would say overall. I can definitely see how this functions, because you're getting a lot of life points, and the wins trap cards will definitely do a fair bit of work in getting you advantage building.
You know what I feel like about this archetype? This is an archetype that I think Axe would be amazing at. Because it requires someone who can just draw the nut.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, that's what we said about before, though, was this is a deck that, if you draw the perfect 5 cards every time, it's crazy. You're going to end on
Well, as I have learned from decks, where I literally had to draw the perfect 5 hand, I kept fucking it up.
It's also very funny looking at this extra deck, where we're basically playing a full extra deck, plant extra deck, and then SP and IP, because why wouldn't you?
Of course.
I think that's a reason why I always kept trying to stupid proof any deck I played, where it's just I need to make sure that at least have 2 of these cards, I get the other 6 cards.
I mean, here's the thing. I have built some idiot proof decks. I should show chat my fucking Chimera Fusion list sometime. I've filled out some very bad hands. Hey, chat, did you know if you're playing an Illusion Chimera Fusion deck, Nightmare Apprentice cannot come soon enough, because
I have bricked in
I have drawn a hand where I drew all 3 copies of my polymerization and then 2 guys with the same name. That hand doesn't do anything in Chimera.
I've bricked Endangered Dark World. There is no idiot-proof deck.
I think the main thing is that Axe is lucky enough that when he tries to idiot-proof deck, he can make something that's fairly consistent. And then usually we got annoyed because Axe would be like, no, you don't understand. I tested this deck so many times to make sure that I wouldn't brick. And we're like, Axe, you have defeated 6 of us tonight. You've never bricked once. We're all dead in the dirt. You're talking crazy. You're a crazy person right now. And Axe is just like, I don't know, man. I'm just a little guy.
Like, listen, listen. Just because I'm shooting you mind bullets doesn't mean I'm not like innocent.
That's very much Prague era Axe. Just because I'm killing you doesn't mean I'm not innocent, and we're all just like, we're already dead.
I still think my favorite idiot-proof deck of our Prague format was when it was every time I brought Dynamist, because Dynamist charge was glued to my fucking hand, and
yeah, you just god drew that one. Because Dino, the reason why Dino is good is because it is a very consistent deck, but like...
My personal favorite Prague era deck was definitely the time I brought Archfiends, and just that whole thing.
That was a deck I think you bricked on.
Yes. I drew 3 Terror King Archfiends in turn 1.
I still think fondly on that like when I showed back up with Fire Fist. And I like just the fucking rip off the top Monster Reborn and just go full combo. That was still my crowning achievement in Prague. I feel like
that's Yu-Gi-Oh, baby.
Yeah, ripping off the top and just like summoning 5 guys off a top deck.
And this isn't personal Axe. My crowning achievement is definitely OT Kang Axe with Lightsword. Lightsword Lightsword.
I mean it was literally like it was like a Western duel. You drew faster than me, and
no, I think that episode was pretty good.
Turns out when your gun shoots 6 bullets at once, you can't really lose.
Yeah.
No, it was you shot me in the shoulder, I shot you in the head.
You shot me 3 times before I shot you twice.
Yeah, no, I think the Lightsword Mirror was an interesting send off to the GX format. And like I said, this is like. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really fun when you build limited formats. I agree with like everyone under the sun that Konami really needs to invest in more limited formats, like come up with more draft rules or just different ways to like package cards.
They need to find a cash cow like Wizards did, where they're like, Magic is just Commander now. That's just all we do now.
I just fucking remembered of my dog shit deck that never should have gotten past round 1 of Mystic Shine Ball Turbo. I rode that deck to the finals.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, didn't you get to finals that week and I had to punch your ticket with like... Oh god, was that Dragon Turbo? Or was that Water Turbo?
What's the opposite of a crowning achievement?
That was a funny episode. I even put the fucking...
That was great.
When you did lose, I put the fucking, sad piano music over your deck list in like grayscale.
It was literally like... I think you were my round 1 opponent, Dallas. I just opened the god hand of.
No, you were my round 2 opponent. You were my round 2 opponent because I remember this because I beat I think it was either Robin or Marth into the ground. I was feeling all good. I'm like, oh yeah, this deck is awesome, and then you just killed me.
Oh yeah, it was like 3 turns of me just. Well, I got the shine balls. I got shine balls and luminous brilliant. I summoned 3 giant big ass.
Is that fucking montage card of like me just like I'm walking on shush and cut to the fucking sad piano music. Oh,
I'm still laughing at the joke that it's like I just had mind bullet.
I mean,
not a real person.
In pure stats, Axe was crazy ahead. Like, Robin did his damnedest only being there every other week to try and catch Axe,
I've overcome the trauma finally, but it took me 2 years.
I was what is known as I had moments and then I was awful.
You had Jobber syndrome, where sometimes you have to win to be credible.
Dallas, you were like informally inducted into the Suck Boys, but like you had a decent record sometimes. Like you,
I had 2
especially as the time went on,
undefeated streaks, and then every other
like,
time I was like.
I think honestly, Dallas, the thing was just that like when you started the format, you were just like fucking around. But when we got to like the back half and started getting more towards decks that you had actually played like sometime that decade, it was like, oh shit, I know what I'm doing. These are the cards I need.
No, Omega, I remember what my first win streak was. It was I found out I really liked Monarch decks.
Dallas, I found the perfect gift for how you felt when I Mystic Shine Balled you.
Basically.
Yeah, no, if I remember right, I was more or less 50-50 like my entire career through that. But I always felt like I always felt like I was bringing a fairly competent deck. My luck would just hit peaks and valleys of like I would just like I still like this is if Marla's watching, I mean no offense to you, I am still livid over getting dunked on by Crash Bugs when I brought my Infernoid list.
I think everybody should admit that like that's just like wasn't just right.
Crash Bug Week was that was one of those like how did this win?
Yeah, I there is no ill intent meant towards you, Marth. But
I think we all had some of those decks where it's just like there's no. I mean, you even said your own Shine Ball Turbo list. Like there were just some weeks that we were just like, there's no earthly reason this deck should have won any games, let alone won the entire week. What's going on here? Yeah. Like okay, like, when Robin shows up with like full power Atlanteans with title, and we're just like, well, yeah, of course, naturally he wins. But like other times, you're just like, did Magispector just clock a 3-0? Like, did we just really lose to Magispector? It was a wild time, and like I said, I think that that like limited formats like that are very funny. It's very interesting to see that like I think I was consistently like a solidly okay player at Yu-Gi-Oh, though I think I've gotten better at deck building as time went on. But like as we got like deeper into the list, just my ability to find the hands that lost me the game got better and better. Like my record was like coming back because I was playing really good decks. Like it took me several weeks to assemble, but the win that we technically ended the series on because our scheduling just exploded, but like me winning with Trickstar was like making, but I assembled a fucking Trickstar deck and it was like, all right, well, this deck is I cannot fuck up with this deck. I have 3 reincarnation and 3 light stage. You're gonna die. You know, that kind of shit. But like
yeah, like it definitely shone forth in my kind of like my second season of late game Yu-Gi-Oh. Like it was that was the era and when I was most familiar with. I definitely felt like I what was one of the most competent deck builders from start to finish.
Yeah.
I
think again, no value judgment. I think when you came back, you were trying harder. Like Robin always said, like because he took a break every week, he came to play real Yu-Gi-Oh, so his decks were real every time. It's true for a lot of us, but even you, Vesper, we all had some fucking dumbass decks when we were in the DM era. Like, I mean, we were just like,
I do remember.
You can't not.
Just spit shining and just seeing what would happen.
Yeah. Look, we all had a Chaos Sork, right?
God, that card. You know what card I remember you killing us with? Fucking Flaming Cerberus.
Yeah, Vesper early played Fire deck.
Fire was the only thing I could competently build for like the entire DM era.
I mean, I think everybody, because it's the only fucking thing you can do in the DM era. Like once those elemental field spells came out, it was like, okay, so pick your attribute. That's the only way you're gonna win any games. Like you got to go all in, like running. I tried like dark strats, and eventually I think I got some luck with water, but like
yeah, it was that fucking that like I guess volcanic stun deck is a good way to phrase it. Where I just went in with like I was main decking every kind of dog shit, and you were like, wow, you're coming out hard calling all kinds of plays with this deck.
Yeah, just got with one of everything. But like I'm very proud that I managed to I think that was my main strength, was just I was very good at the grind set of just like playing a deck for like 4 weeks in a row and just making it better each time when we got more cards. Technically I lost some games because I probably played some decks too early, but getting that Trickstar win, grinding out a couple of wins with heroes over the weeks. Like we're just like, hey, guess what? We added 4 more heroes. Some of them are good. Sadly playing
I
Wild
think
Heart
between
Turbo.
the two of us, we played Elemental Hero maybe 300 times.
There's a lot of E-Hero games. Listen, there were a lot of heroes. They were good cards, except when they weren't. Playing Wild Heart Turbo was not great. But when I was able to card pick for 3 Stratos, then we were cooking.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will say that, like, I was definitely like playing to win in a sense in my second return, but I was still doing dumb bullshit. Like I would still bring like Butterfly Dagger Elma Crystron, and I would get my face beaten. But I'm like, this is like I built a fun deck. I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, I hope
the-
you've enjoyed our reminiscing. Check out the Prague series; it's
Yeah.
still up. We had some
Our-
fun
our
there. It's just a
series is
scheduling
nice.
thing
Like,
of
we-
like.
I
getting
definitely
a big
want us to attempt some more cubing, some more cube nonsense.
Well, we at
Cubes
like
be
the
fun.
start of this year, we beta tested some of YGO Pro's like cube formatting. They're
Craft
pretty fun to
cube,
set
whatever you
up,
wanna
and
call it.
like
Glitched a
just
few times,
doing
so-
little cube drafts is like
Maybe they patched it.
they've got some.
We also
they've
could try
got
the
some juice.
arena. We could try the
I
arena
don't think I've
bullshit.
ever done Yu-Gi-Oh cubes. 'Cause
I don't think you can do 5.
You did. I feel like you did take part in. You did take part in one of the cubes, did you not?
Maybe.
No. I think we
'cause
got. We may have gotten
but
both
it
Robin and
doesn't
Marth to
matter.
go around and try some
I've
cube.
done. I don't want to assume. I've done more cube drafts than I think all of you combined. 'cause I did
Probably, but in
cube
Magic,
drafting for,
because
like,
that's like a
8 years.
a supported format in Magic is like cubing.
Well, yeah,
Um,
because cube drafting is great because you can like make themed sets. Like
I never did outright cube drafts to Magic, but I definitely played a lot of draft in Magic because it was like it was a fairly
the great
cheap method of
equalizer.
like, hey, bring $15 to the tournament on Wednesday, and you and like 24 other goons are just gonna dick around with whatever bulk trash you get.
nah, the only formats I play in Magic are draft and Commander because I don't have the money to do any of the other ones.
Yeah, I still remember the Innistrad pre-release. I was able to build the most heinous self-milled nonsense. I luck sacked early on and just built one of the fucking dumb shit self-milled decks. So it was like one of the mad.
So for
scientist
this
cards.
latest set, for Modern Horizons 3, during I think it was the first week of draft, I built a deck where I killed everyone I played in 15 minutes.
Jesus.
And it was just basically small creatures and this one artifact that got pumped up for every other artifact. It's the card that got banned in Pauper pre the set coming out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, this card's good. And then when everyone else figured out how to play the set, now I can't win. But meh,
That's how draft goes sometimes.
it is. They're like, oh, I play an Ulamog. Okay, I lose. Or I play an Emrakul. All right, I lose.
Ah, good old Emrakul.
Well, Emrakul the third. I think she is. Yeah, the third Emrakul.
But is she Borborygmos enraged?
Does she have a new hat?
But here,
I don't
Dallas,
think
for an
there's no
example, here's one of the cubes I cooked up on YGO Pro called Dragon, Not Dragon. There's 490 cards, and it's just dragons and things that are not dragons.
Oh, that's cubing.
7 out of 10 needs more worms.
Kill this man.
No.
Crucify him like that other guy.
Crucify.
I'm sorry. When you say things that are not dragons, I immediately think worms.
I mean, but it's dragons and not dragons. And I don't actually think a lot of cards that are worms, though there are a couple that are in like the Xyz zone, for instance. But a lot of cards that are named dragon that are not dragons are not worms. But there are a few.
True.
But yeah, it's I put some very funny stuff in there.
Yeah, no, cube drafting is great.
Yeah.
As long as the person who builds the cube knows what they're doing.
I mean, I did a couple, and we did do some like testing of them, so to figure it out better. So there's been like some revision, but I think I know what I'm doing. We tried the I think we actually played through the fire and ice one. I did as well. That was like, that one actually like that one I think the fire and ice one really had the actual cube part of the cube draft coming up, because like the way that the website does it is you're all in the instance at once for your like card pool. So like, when it opens the packs, you click them, you're all working at once like a proper draft. So, like, you can get those packs passed back to you and be like, ah, shit, that card I really needed last time is gone. Somebody took it.
We also did have it happen several times, which may have just because it was in the beta phase of them figuring it out. We had several times happen during our draft where packs were just not like working right.
Yeah.
Like packs were getting skipped, like cards just weren't getting taken out of the packs on draft.
Mm-hmm.
It do be like that sometimes.
But yeah, no. So like we'll probably do some of that to fill in our Yugi Tuesday times when we can, you know, when we're not doing fail portrayal. But we all be doing the first fails and portrayals. And next week we'll be back to talk about Centurion, which in the OCG is just spelled Centurion with no dash, so it's like Centurion.
Autobots.
Iron Knights. But that'll be fun to talk about. Also, it's a new month, so I'll have to bully these guys to get me suggestions for a new Patreon poll for Fail Portrayal.
Gimmick puppets.
Well, hey, we can put it back on the list.
You're gonna have just put in quotation marks next to it. You're gonna have to pick this eventually.
I mean, it looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, that is the best part.
Melfi
Sorry,
again.
No.
Oh, I fucking slept through it the first time.
Well, that's your own fault.
Yeah.
Wait, which one did you sleep through?
Melfi, which was his pick on the Patreon board, but
Oh, Sag.
But yeah, the best part of cube drafts is just like you're just packing around a steaming pile of shit and just hoping it doesn't get back to you because you really don't want that card.
yeah, there was a lot of that in the cube draft as well, where it's like, well, all 6 of these cards suck, so I'll take the one that sucks the least and hope I don't see any of them again. And then it gets back to you, you know, minus a couple cards, and you're like, damn it, all the cards that are terrible are still here.
This is why I'm glad that does Yu-Gi-Oh! I haven't actually opened a Yu-Gi-Oh! Pack in like 50 years, probably since we've done the progression series. Does Yu-Gi-Oh! Have the thing where you can't open more than one of the same card?
No,
no, not
I haven't opened up a pack in a few years, but I have still had it happen where you can get dupes.
It's more rare per pack.
You can open 2 cards at the same time, but they have to be one has to be foil, or like a special art.
I mean, like, if a card is a high rarity card, yes, there's no way to get more than 1 copy per pack, because like you can only have like, you know, if you can only have like 1 ultra rare per pack, well, you can't get 2 ultras in the same pack, you know. The cube draft we're gonna do is a simulator, so it doesn't account for rarity at all. The rarity is what I set it to be.
Yeah,
which is usually like pretty evenly distributed.
Yeah.
You know, I took some tips because Hardleg did do a cube series very briefly that I really enjoyed. And talked about like making cubes, and it's like usually you either wanna go like all singletons, or you want multiple copies of several different cards so like people can actually build strategy.
I'll try and build a cube. I have an idea of what to do. Have you done a horror-themed cube?
No.
It also has to be like consistent. It has to be consistent with each other. Somewhat.
From what I remember, there was a fire water one where I ended up building like a fire hand ice hand thing.
Yeah. The 3 I built, and I do actually have a couple backed up because at least when we started this, YGO only lets you have 3 cube lists published unless you pay for premium. Was Thunderbolts and Lightning, which was just every generic Thunder card, and then because that's not enough to make an actual cube draft for like more than like 2 people. Also, a bunch of other cards that are vaguely related to Thunder and Lightning. Dragon, not
like
Dragon, which I
the
shared with Dallas.
the Hunter family,
Yeah.
the like Thunder Hand, and
Yeah.
like
There was
just
like fun
Lightning
stuff.
All
Hand
kinds
and
of stuff.
shit.
And then the last one is
That was a weird
Fire and Ice one we mentioned. I like drafted one for like Oops All Psychics kind of a thing. And I think I've done a couple of other examples of like, ones. But no, I didn't do anything specifically like horror themed. Like that's another thing. Like if you guys want to on your accounts on YGO Pro, if you remember how to get in them, another reason why we will not resume Prague. I think some of those collections are lost. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. My collection's
you got
definitely
like
gone.
3 slots. You can take your own crack at it.
Because my computer is fucking gone.
Look, I would love to do more Prague. The problem would be
We would have to
there's
start
no
over.
fucking way we're redoing the DM era.
Yeah, I think that like
If
one
we
of
have
my
to
grand
restart Prague-
conclusions to like doing the whole thing is like, okay, progression is a cool concept. The DM era sucks ass. Like for the first like, how many weeks did it take us to
no,
get
we
to
started
Chaos?
at Lost Millennium. Oh no.
How many weeks? I don't remember how many weeks it took us to get to Chaos, but like,
It's 8. It's 8 because it's
Okay,
the 8
yeah.
set is.
Once we got to Chaos, we were in the Chaos hellhole for the entire DM era into most of GX era.
yes,
I
and
think it'd
which
be
admittedly is our own fault. It took us way too long to just tell Chaos to go die.
I think it'd be interesting to just skip the DM era entirely and then just start a GX.
That would probably
that
make a lot
functions.
more like competent strat to just start in the GX era. Like I don't.
The worst problem would be that set 1 would just be a lost like the Monk Lock Turbo.
Yeah, and this is why I'm not necessarily like I don't 100% agree with what MBT's Prague playoffs did, where they just like completely rotated out their card pool every like season
No.
because like that got a little weird. Especially
I
because
agree on
sometimes
doing it-
Yu-Gi-Oh has like support that
Here's the
crosses
thing.
quote unquote
I
seasons.
agree with doing it with DM, specifically DM.
Oh yeah, I think like everybody who does like a vaguely Prague related thing is just like, okay, DM era staples, blah blah blah. Like everybody wants to see them, so we'll do them because we're doing content creation. But when we're done with all these sets and shit, fuck you, we're getting out of here. We're throwing them out. Like it's an interesting one, and like that's the beauty of doing like a cube, because like yes, if you want, you could like hide a Pot of Greed in your cube as like a funny, or you can just be like, hey, guess what? You can't play Pot of Greed, but you know what you can play? The whatever that weird lightning card is that lets you discard or
Dude,
banish a level 9 to draw 2.
If I were to ever do a cube person, I would have a Pot of Greed like printed out and taped over a Pot of Generosity.
That's pretty funny. Or like with my dragon draft, like I think there's like some copies of like trade-in or cards of consonants in there, but other than that, it's like you play like specific shit. And I think that in general, it seems like cubes are better when they are themed, like when you've got a funny idea. But you can do a little stuff with draft. There's also like that the quote unquote roguelike that I know the Dungeon Duel Monsters that like MBT's been poking. That also seems like a very fun little back and forth we can do some stuff with. But we'll run a Patreon poll. It'll be Centurion next week. The stream's been going for like an extra 10 minutes than it needs to, so we're gonna scootle on out of here.
We might probably a good 40 minutes out of some reminiscing and just general discussion.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun because
I
like
think it's
we're
an entertaining
all up
stream.
together, but it's also like we should not let the stream run too long. I've already been
You really-
kicked out of
it's
Final
become a
Fantasy
podcast
14
now.
for. I mean, I don't mind doing those. We did at one point. I saved like a pilot where I like watched like the first like 50 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and was like, guys, I need to talk about this. Like we like
That
stopped
is-
down for like 2 hours.
Dude, I would do a watch along of GX only if we were doing the dub. Only if it was the dub.
And that's why we're
I-
not doing a watch along of GX. But I've already been kicked out of Final Fantasy 14 for being idle too long. So
It's
we're
probably
gonna
something else.
scootle on out of here and get back to our other stuff, especially because I got a few things to set up for tomorrow with some other things and various stuff. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We're having a good time killing things, running stew, and so we'll see you guys next time. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.